One day I should actually utilize like the um the social media that we have for like Blue Sky and such. Because I'm not going back to Twitter. It's basically dead. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of people that still use it, but not me. Not me. Hey, Pizza Funk. How you doing? Hope you doing well. Alright. I won't lie. I I myself am a little sleepy. Um it came over me, I want to say like 10 or 20 minutes ago, that my eyes are tired, you know? You know that feeling where they're kind of like um what's the word? I don't even know. Um I don't know. They burn slightly, you know? Because of tiredness. It's a thing, I'm sure. It happens to me a lot. Pretty good. Been playing Noita? Oh, I know Noita. Wait a minute. I don't think I own Noita, but I know it. Yeah! I remember this. Okay. That's neat. It's a neat game. Do I own Noita? I do not. The fact that I remember that I don't own something is actually kind of insane. Oh, God. This whole week, I have, or this whole past week, I have, not been able to do much after work, and I've been meaning to. I've been meaning to do a whole lot, uh, but it has not happened, unfortunately. But today, the podcast happened, so we good. Also, I've just realized that the duplicate. There we go. Okay, that'll work. I just realized that the other screen that I have for us is not technically working. Oh no, now it is. Oh, that's why. Okay, we're good. But yeah, I haven't been able to what is it? I haven't been able to play Monster Hunter since the last stream. Um I thankfully was able to do some stuff around the house yesterday. But I've been meaning to also edit Vampire, because I actually have a backlog now, and I need to get them edited quicker. So, you know, it's just one of those things. This sounds like the episode for me. My players are always escaping. I could use some tips on fighting them. Hey, Shen. Not necessarily what we're going for, but you know. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Table Talk, Discussion, and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Radon95, and I will be joined later on by Boo, when he is awake. He went to go take a nap after we did Vampire this evening, and so, you know, he got a bit eepy. Took a little nap. Everyone wants to keep their players. No one ever wants to pawn their players off on someone else. That's right. That's true. um, yeah. I mean, you've seen the stuff. You've seen the thumbnail. You've seen the title and everything. You know the topics today. First off, we're going to be talking about keeping your players, as stated. In reality, though, it is more than just that. It is keeping your players coming back. This is the video. Keep your players coming back from Bandit's Keep. We've covered Bandit's Keep once or twice before, I think. And this time around, we've got some tips on keeping your players. So, yeah, you know. Hey, Timothy, how you doing? Viridian Entropy, good to see ya. Yeah, so we are gonna be looking at this in a few minutes here. I'm gonna talk at you, with you a little bit more. See if Boo gets here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. And then we'll start for sure. If he doesn't, hey, we'll just keep going. It's no issue. I do want to say, so none of you had homemade Big Macs for dinner. That's pretty good. I do want to say that there is an issue that I have fixed on my own that has been plaguing me for a very long time that none of you would ever know about until I talk about it. There was, so part of my setup here is that I have a soundbar for my computer. And what was nice was that I could take that soundbar, plug it into the computer, and then plug my headphones into the soundbar. Which was good for volume control, because it has a little knob for volume control. And that was the main reason. The other reason, of course, being if I didn't want to wear headphones and I just wanted to listen to stuff, I could take the headphones out of the soundbar, right? Now, it came with a little bit of a hitch. I don't know when this started. Honestly, I can't remember when it wasn't the case until today. But my soundbar gave feedback into my headphones all the time. So I would be hearing the feedback of like downloads and programs being opened and just in general the computer doing stuff if it wasn't making enough noise to overtake that feedback. So I've been listening to that for years now, probably. And I bought this because I just was like, it's just part of it. Whatever, I'll deal with it, right? And it's been annoying me forever. So I bought this little splitter for audio. It's a very small box. It was like $30, right? And maybe it was less than that. I actually don't remember. But it's a splitter that plugs into my computer. That I can then have two sources, or two, not sources, but two outputs that I can switch between. So now I can just press a button and switch between my headset and the soundbar, and it has its own volume control knob. So now I plug my headphones in, I turn on my computer, and I can listen to everything, and when there's silence, there's actual silence. And I don't want to undersell this, but it is probably the best thing that I have done for my brain for a long time. I have been listening to all the time whenever I'm on my computer for so long. And now it's just nice that that is gone and I don't have to listen to it in the background when I'm listening to anything else. I honestly, I've been an idiot for so long, just leaving it and not fixing it. But I just didn't for a long time. Never had the thought about fixing this in this way. And I'm very happy, and I wanted to share that because silence is nice in a lot of cases when you've just been overwhelmed by noise for a long time. So yeah, if you're having some feedback issues with your own stuff, potentially you should get a little audio splitter, potentially, right? I don't know. Maybe that'll help. Feedback is weird. Are you saying you don't want the eldritch noises whilst you use your PC? Dude, I've done my time. It's been a long time. I don't remember when it wasn't the case. I've had this soundbar for a good long while for like 2 computers, 3 computers, which is all of the computers that I've owned, actually. Um, well, all the computers that I have personally bought. But uh, yes, I don't want them anymore, so I fixed it. You can hear Garabay better now, yay. That is true. I can hear just about everything better, which is good for a lot of cases, but not for that one. But yeah, it's crazy how much of a difference this has made. So that's nice. It's good. Fixing things. That's what I like doing. Also, hey, if 4K Garabay, good god. Technically true. If only he uploaded his videos in 4K, that would be hysterical. Speaking of improving things, hey, Vampire is going great. I'm having a great time. I hope that those of you who have started it and are getting through it are enjoying what you're listening to and seeing. And more good things to come. It's honestly, this last one has been great as well. Like, I don't know. I might be biased, but I really, really, really enjoy everything that the guys are doing in character and everything. So yeah, man, it's something. Go check it out if you can, if you want to. It's good stuff. At least it's not 40K Garabay. True. Are comments blocking out the sun by now? Yes. A little bit, yes. I have quite a few that I need to get to this evening. I'm hopefully going to do so for sure. Anyway, I think that's enough faffing about. Yeah. If Boo isn't awake by now, that's okay. We'll potentially see him later on. So, anyway. There was a couple of things that I wanted to talk about really quick that were comment related. But, you know, there's I just wanted to officially talk about this comment. Is Aiden coming? No, he is unfortunately not going to be here. He is taking the time off at the moment. And he is getting ready for some stuff that he's got to do this week. So he will not be joining us, unfortunately. My apologies. I thought I had mentioned that, but apparently I had not. But yeah, so let me just make sure that this is here. Yes. Okay. I wanted to talk about this comment. Maybe I should save it for when the guys are here. Maybe I'll say it. No, we'll talk about it right now. Okay. So, this is going to be an early comment because it's actually in reference to last week's episode and actually talking about some opinions and such. And I wanted to go into it a little bit because it's very interesting. Might have said it before I got here. Maybe. So I think it's interesting to say this. I don't know what it is, but I didn't do it. That's fair. So this account, Jesse Thacker, thank you, first off, for commenting. I really appreciate comments all the time. Don't get me wrong. I'm just pointing it out because it brings up some points that we were discussing before that I'm thinking about a little bit more these days, and trying to figure out where I am on it. And I think we can do a whole big discussion on this specifically, but I do want to at least address this right now. So Jesse says, Your guest host is trying to argue that high-level D&D isn't a slog. That's as bad a take as Bob's options are bad. High-level D&D is a slog isn't saying your DM can't make high-level D&D fun. It's that the rules of D&D don't support high-level play in a way that is as fun as mid-level play. And saying that spellcasters can end encounters in a single spell doesn't make the overall table enjoyment of high-level play fun. Which I responded, so I'm not sure if I can get agree to an as fun argument easily since everyone has fun differently, and the rules don't change when you're at high levels, you just have more options, perhaps a plethora that can make things slower, or the monsters being too healthy. I'd love to hear examples of what you're referring to specifically, though, and we can discuss it further next time we're live. That is what I came home to one day. Saw that comment, and it's a good point. Don't get me wrong here. But I don't know if Juice was necessarily saying your DM can't make high-level D&D fun, right? And I also agree, though, that saying that spellcasters can end encounters really fast doesn't make it also more fun. But the problem that we have here is that I don't actually know, I guess, what the total, or what the in-depth argument is of high-level D&D is a slog, right? Because with this, we have the rules of D&D don't support high-level play in a way that is as fun as mid-level play. So that argument is fair enough to make, but it's not a great one in terms of an actual one for the rules, I suppose. Because, again, as I said, as fun as can be completely different for everybody. When we were doing Devils and Dice and we got into high levels, it was fun. Then again, we're in a different system as well, so there might be something there. But regardless, for 5e, I don't know. I've not done a lot of high level play, right? I've played a couple of maybe one-shots that are higher level, but I've not done a campaign to get to high level and remain in high level. So I don't know. It's subjective. Some groups may find high-level play fun regardless of what the rules are. Exactly. That is also incredibly important to note. So what the argument is, if it is that the rules don't support it in a way that's as fun, I can't agree to that, right? I can't give that a great, yeah, that's a good argument, right? If that is the main consensus of high-level play as a slog, then not a great point. If it really is just the fact that everything, my options here of too many options making the game actually slower in combat that's already going to be slow might be a problem, right? And then the monsters being too healthy, right? Which means that the combats take longer because you are just doing damage to damage sponges until they are gone, right? That is also potentially a problem. Just in terms of keeping interest and keeping things fresh and all of that kind of stuff, right? I know he's talking about 5e, but low level 3.5 tends to be a slog for me because of constantly missing, and that turns around at high level, potentially. Yeah, that makes sense that that's the case, but also, I've never found it a slog. I don't know. Personally, I don't really find a lot of things to be a slog, usually, because I'm just enjoying the time with my friends, right? So there might be that as a bias that I have because of my experience, right? I'm totally willing to say that I'm wrong because of my bias, because of my experience, right? I'm fine with that. Maybe I just don't understand entirely what the framework is, or what the mindset is that people are in. That is fair enough to me. It might just be that the argument is just in support of a lot of people just don't find it fun, which is perfectly valid, right? That's fine, but it's not really much of a argument against the system. It's just more an argument against, or it's an argument for it being not as fun for certain people, right? If that makes sense. Either way, that's what I think of it right now. I'll bring it back up to the guys when we have them here so that we can do this again. I'll keep this comment around for the for when we specifically go into high level D&D is a slog, right? Because I'm gonna write this down as a future topic to really dive into, because I think it's important. I do. High level D&D is a slog. When we were talking with Peter brought up good points on how it's completely different in terms of the feel that you get, which I can understand entirely, and I can also get behind, because high-level D&D does feel entirely different than low-level D&D, right? So, I don't know. Sure, you can enjoy the time with your friends, and I'll enjoy the time making numbers increase. I also enjoy that, so that's the thing. Like, there's nothing... when they're small, when their numbers are small, they're going to increase. When they are big, they will either get big or keep being that big, right? I still find the enjoyment either way. Not saying that just finding that is good or bad. I'm just saying that I still have that mindset regardless of the situation, that I'm still having fun. So that's, I don't know. I don't know. It's, like I said, there might be something that I'm missing. So honestly, I might have, it'd be so good to have like everybody on, like every single person that we've talked to before, to really get to the nitty gritty about this, you know, maybe I can get everybody on, all of our guests and all of us. That would be really fun, actually. We'll see. We'll make it. We'll see what happens in the works. But anyway, now that I've talked about that, let's go to the video, the actual topic of today. So, this seems to be a video that's talking about keeping your players coming back, I assume by creating a good enough story or good enough experience that people want to keep playing with you when you're running games. Now, I don't know what potentially could be here that I don't know, I guess. What I could really learn from this, but I'm willing to hear it out and learn a little bit, to see what we can figure out. Rules can only be so balanced, but people like what they like and dislike what they dislike. That is true. Exactly. If it's purely a subjective argument, that is fine. Like I said, it's not the system's fault at that point, necessarily. I don't know. Friendship and numbers are the same thing. Interesting. It is, technically, you ever heard of social links? Persona? Anyway, okay, let's start. Here we go.
Welcome to Bandit's Keep, and what keeps them coming back, like the hook. So Blues Traveler said the hook is what brings them back, right? And maybe that's the case. And what is the hook in D&D? What brings us back to the table each time? I think this may have changed, or at least the focus of the game has changed over time. Whether or not how people played changed, that's to be debated. But what brings us up, basically, is that I was watching a video. I was kind of binge watching a bunch of videos, so I don't remember exactly which one this was. And somebody was building an adventure, and they were giving advice on how to build kind of an adventure that could also be a campaign starter, typical stuff that we do here on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I noticed that they were building factions and deep story with NPCs and a mission for the PCs to do to save this thing, for to be the heroes. Mm-hmm. And I thought, Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I've built adventures like that. And then I thought to myself, you know, if you're building stuff for old school, right? So this particular channel talked a lot about old school essentials and Shadow Dark and stuff like that. And if you're doing that, wouldn't you want the hook, right, to just be get treasure? Because that's how you get experience points, right? And I wonder, was that the hook? Was that, you think, was that enough back in the early days? Was that the hook? Is that what we played for? And kind of, but I think there's something more to that. And
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, because obviously the first thing that I would think is, yeah, I mean, the game itself was based upon if you got treasure, that was how you got experience, and that's how you leveled up, right? Why is this mic shaking? It's because his desk is being moved by him moving, so his arm isn't, like, securely in place. Like, mine's moving right now because I'm slightly moving as I'm talking and making my entire desk move because of it. So, um, yeah. So I think that even back in the day, and I can't prove this in any way, right? Can't at all, but I have to assume at least that a lot of it was still about doing things as these characters and fulfilling this fantasy, right? Which is the role play aspect. Yeah, it's good get number go big, right? But it's also to play this character that you couldn't be, larger than life in a lot of different ways and be able to be that hero. Um, it's just a part of it. So the ability to create stories that allow that to happen, or really just allow your players to fulfill whatever the fantasy is that they have signed up for, that's really what keeps people coming back, right? That and the people, I assume, that you are playing with, because you're having fun with your friends a lot of the time, or just having fun with people in general, right? Because going to conventions and everything, you could be playing with random people for, forever. And you can still be having fun with everybody. It doesn't have to be your friends, right? It can just be Mr. and Mrs. Kenneth, who are who trying D&D for the first time and have a great time, and you have a great time watching them have a great time or something. I don't know, right? Could be anything in that case. I think it is specifically, though, the fact that you can really tailor D&D or any TTRPG to really appeal to whatever somebody wants to get out of it, right? Like, and also to get something out of it yourself for telling a story. Because, like, Vampire itself, that the game that I've been running, I have a story. The characters are on the path of the story here and there. They're finding stuff out. They're getting, clues and such and all of this kind of stuff. But also they're doing their own things, right? They're going out there into the world and doing whatever the hell they want, because that's the environment that I like to foster when it comes to playing these TTRPGs. And even in linear games, in linear modules, you still are doing whatever the hell you want within, the limitations of the module. But you're still absolutely doing whatever the hell you want. So it's that aspect as well, to just be able to, quote unquote, let loose a lot of the time. And that's at least, I'm not reinventing the wheel by saying that. We all know this. I'm just wondering, I guess, what we're going to be learning new here through this video, I guess. I don't know if we're only going to be talking about old school stuff, because if we are, that's going to be a little less in my wheelhouse, but I'll do my best. I mean, new players are the ones I think that would be at risk of leaving unless the GM makes them run away. The least risk or the most risk? I'm not sure. But either way, so people have bad experiences very easily. I think if somebody starts running something in a way that is not going to line up with what they want, the players want out of the experience. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, it doesn't happen, nearly as much as you might see in like a crit crab video or any of those kinds of things. But it does happen, just in more subtle ways, potentially, of like, oh, okay, I joined this campaign, and I thought that it wouldn't be as dark as it is, right? I knew it was going to be somewhat dark, but it's not as dark, right? Or sorry, but it is more dark than I assumed. Not exactly for me. Guess I'll get out of there, right? Because it's about their comfort level as well, with the content on occasion as well. I don't know. The most at risk because new players might not be sure about the game. That's also true. It's also true. Well, if you would reinvent the wheel, maybe you could get it to fit in your wheelhouse. True. Let me just build my wheelhouse real quick.
That's what I'm going to kind of explore here. Like, what is the real hook to playing? Has that changed? And what can we do to really make it so the players want to keep coming back?
Okay. Interesting.
To role play. I'm going to say that in the early days of the hobby, and I know that people were doing some role playing before D&D actually became a thing, and people will talk about that. And okay, fine. But I think in the early days of the hobby, like probably in the 70s and certainly in the early 80s when I started, it was kind of novel to play a game this way, to actually have a game where you were told to do this. Right. Yes, as kids, we often got into playing, even my little dog or shoe in Monopoly, right? We would name them or do things, but that wasn't part of the game. Right. This was something new. And I think the original hook of the game was not delve into dungeons and get treasure, which is what you get experience points for. It was to play the role of these heroes.
This is exactly what I said. Bravo. There we go. Video's over. Fuck. I called it. That's fine. I hope there's more. That's all.
And delve into the dungeon and get treasure. That is to say, while people came back week after week to go deeper and deeper in the dungeon and to get more experience to become more powerful, that's because they wanted to play more powerful and more interesting and someone with more status in the world. They wanted to play different characters or take that one character through to another level. I'm sure from the beginning people were doing this, but I do think that maybe a lot of people, I know our group did that when we were younger. We didn't just go, let's make 10th level guys. We just never did that, right? We always started at low levels. And I've talked to people and they're like, oh, eventually we started. But those people played longer than I did probably, or maybe they were older. And so for me, that's how we played, right? Part of the hook was to see how far you could get your character. So you did the things that you needed to do to level them up. You got the gold and stuff. But that wasn't really what brought you there. So even though the game itself is stating, and we talk about this a lot when we talk about XP for gold versus killing monsters, right, in the OSR sphere or whatever, that opens up a lot of options because, that's the motivation. The players' characters will do this thing because they want experience points. But I think that a lot of people come to the table for the adventure, not just the leveling.
Exactly. I think it's obvious enough that you want to get more powerful with your character, but you don't, like, number go up is great. Don't get me wrong. I love number go up. I play Monster Hunter. Number go up when get bigger weapon, better weapon, kill bigger monster, number go up, right? It's a basic thing, and hell, in your idle games and everything that we've got on our phones and everything for those who enjoy idle games, number go up. It go up exponentially, and you make number go up when you buy cookie clicker upgrades for your grandmas and stuff, right? I have a friend who has put a shit ton of time into Cookie Clicker. It's ridiculous how much time he's put into Cookie Clicker because number go up, make brain go burr, right? Understandable. But to deepen that with the experience that you get from the story, from going through and finding out new things, or actually being a part of one of those adventures that you've read in a book, right? That's what I think is the main drive, more often than not, right? Because the best part about number go up is the fact that you can continue to have number go up while you're doing things that matter, right? And when you're in this world, yeah, whatever, grand scheme doesn't really matter, right? But in the world, in the moment, that's when it matters. Everything that you do has an impact. At least that's how I like to think about it. I like to think about the game as being that, because again, we're trying to, a lot of the time, as most people say in these kinds of videos, you're trying to make a living, breathing world, right? Freestyle, yeah. Oh, my role playing before D&D. What is this old magic exactly? Number go up, reach the absolute. Yeah, exactly. Does Cookie Clicker have a high scoreboard? Probably. I don't know. There are probably people who've played it far longer than my friend, but he has put the most time into it out of anybody that I know, which is insane. And I'm never gonna touch that game. Not again. I did once, long time ago, and then went, alright. Because that's how most of those idle games go for me. I just go, okay, sure.
The statement many times that in a lot of the adventures written for old school, not necessarily old adventures, but adventures written for the old school, modern adventures, they don't give you enough gold. And there was kind of this idea, I was in a lot of Facebook groups and stuff, and people were talking about, leveling is not that important. Playing the first level character is the most challenge. So it's okay to have 4 gold pieces and keep your party poor. But that's not how we played back in the day. I mean, I'm sure some groups did. We played the way the book said to play, which is you got a lot of gold, right? And because you want to level up and you want to improve your character. So I wonder if people creating those adventures were looking at contemporary adventures or adventures that came after some of the original ones, and were using those as baseline, more story-based adventures, and then they were shoehorning, right, an old school system into it, and that's why the leveling was, right? When we look at a mega dungeon, so for instance, I ran ASE, which is a kind of a cool mega dungeon. It was very popular at one point. It was one of the ones everybody was like, that's the one you got to run. And it's got maybe like 3 or 4 pages about the environment around it. And then a lot of it is just this huge dungeon with hundreds and hundreds of rooms. And I played it for about a year. I think we did every other week. Every once in a while, maybe like every 4th or 5th session, the players would be like, oh, we want to explore outside the dungeon. And we would go on side quests and do other things. At the end of the campaign, because I just ran it for 1 year, and I said, this is a campaign, 1-year campaign, I talked to the players, and the memories they had, the adventures they liked the most, weren't in the dungeon. They were the ones that I homebrewed, and I'm not saying that because I make better adventures. They were the ones that were in the world that the module presented.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's a perfect example of that, of what we've been talking about. Because, again, yeah, the number go up is a good thing, but what does it really mean when you can't do anything with it, right? Like, yeah, you can still go through the dungeon and such, right? You can go through this mega dungeon, as you said, but obviously you running it potentially might sorry, okay, let me rephrase this sentence because that all of those words don't really go together. So something you could do when running this kind of adventure, or any kind of adventure, is to go off script, because you want to inject your own creative style into it, your own ideas that you have in the same setting, whatever it might be. I know that for me, when I ran my first game, it was using the module, I've said this many a time, Expedition to Castle Ravenloft. And I changed things around. I used DMPC to help, right? I used the dark powers in a way that I thought was interesting. I utilized the werewolves that are in the actual forest as a potential ally, which I think is part of it. I think it's part of the game, technically, in the rule book, but nowadays in Curse of Strahd, it's like a very obvious thing, because they really go into it. They're like, hey man, yeah, you can do this. if you really want to. And I'm like, okay, neat. Though I think with the 3.5 one, it was a little more, this is a different option kind of thing, right? My cats are now banging on my door again. If you hear any banging. Anyway, I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, I do, but I've been with them all day, basically. Anyway, so, so utilizing that as your baseline, this module, or anything that you've really run, and then adding personality to it, your personality, your ideas, and everything is really the thing that's going to create a lot more interesting moments. Because yeah, I still remember all the stuff that Strahd did. I remember all the stuff that happened because of what Strahd was doing. But I also remember a lot more about what the characters did because of what they had wanted to do because of other things that I put in. Like a shopkeeper who was pretty crazy. Like who the werewolves actually meeting with them and them forming an alliance and then getting turned into protoplasm. Not protoplasm, plankton or something because of the dark powers. And I remember the meeting that they had with Strahd, but I also remember when they paralyzed him. When I paralyzed Strahd by accident, because I was using some homebrew shit, and he got paralyzed for eternity, and well, not technically eternity because Ravenloft, can do whatever the fuck, right? But at least for the eternity that they were present for, so the part of the eternity that they were present for. I don't know. It's interesting that if they're putting these contemporary ideas into old school and it's not working out as well, is that bad design in the sense of you're not able to necessarily go through the adventure because you don't get the appropriate amount of experience? Or is it balanced in such a way that it doesn't matter if you get a lot of gold, because you can still do everything without having to level up, really? It becomes a different kind of game, I feel. One that's more close to the deadliness of OSR, as well as like things like Call of Cthulhu and Delta Green and all of that, which you could die in moments, right? It makes it that much more tense in that way, and potentially it could, because of that, make it more memorable and meaningful. Potentially, I don't know. But again, it's really it depends on what you're looking for when you actually go into that experience. Because if you're a hardcore OSR guy and it's not like OSR, like it's not like, oh, this doesn't feel at all like 1E or 2E or whatever, then you're probably not going to enjoy it as much as people who are less familiar with that and go into the system and go, ooh, there's a lot of story here. That's neat. And we don't have to worry about experience as much because that's not how this game works, I don't know. I don't know. It's what keeps a lot of people coming back to one game is not going to keep a lot of people coming back to every game, right? That's just the nature of it. So it's interesting to think about, but I'm not sure it's that complicated, I guess. Dunno. Anyway. I remember getting the high score on a Funhouse pinball table, number go up big that day. Think I got 50 million. Nice job. Can't do anything else. You can always do Mayhem. That's true. You might not want to do Mayhem in Ravenloft. You can once you've paralyzed Strahd. Well, the dark powers still might be a little bit of a problem. but it depends on if you want to make a deal with them, because you could. You don't want to do Mayhem in the Grey Wastes of Hades because you turn to dust after a while. That's true as well. That's true.
And when I look at the module itself, there was barely any gold in there. So what was the reason to go to this mega dungeon? There was no reason. If you're going to try to run a mega dungeon or a dungeon delving campaign, you can't be cheap with the gold.
Oh, well, okay, wait.
Because why would the characters even want to do that?
So is clearing the dungeon not also technically something that they would want to do? Because it's a dungeon. And yeah, sure, mega dungeon, whatever. But does that not also mean that actually, like, making it somewhere that people can venture more easily, maybe find artifacts? I don't know anything about this module, but I'm just putting forth hypotheticals of if you as a player, as a character, I guess more so, think, oh, I want to help clear this mega dungeon. Not necessarily what it's called in the term in like the world, but I want to go clear this mega dungeon so that people can take it back, so that people can find out who made it without fear of dying, so that it can be repurposed. It could be a number of different reasons, yeah, or it could be get gold. Because I'm sure that whatever's in there is going to be worth money. Or it could be, well, maybe I can take the stuff out of there to then sell after we clear it. You know? I know it potentially might not be in the actual module, might not be in the actual book itself, but you could come up with quite a few reasons as to why people would still want to go do it, even when it's not full of treasure. Maybe you could just do a little trolling. That's right. Maybe I'll just do a little trolling, actually. Maybe I'll just go and do a little trolling around here. Yeah, I don't know. It's, because if you can still do it with the amount of gold that they have given, then I don't see a problem, right? Is it because you need to have it feel like the old school rules, as OSR I think is for? In which case, sure, there are plenty of modules that can do that better, I guess, but this just seems like, oh, we're taking a story and we're putting it in the system, which I see no issue with. I don't know.
This becomes a little bit tricky for some people. And what you end up getting is this idea that people, oh, I want to do this mega dungeon, but I can't have the characters have too much gold because they wouldn't go in there if they had too much gold. So I won't give them any gold. Then they'll have to go. But then after a while, they're like, why are we going into this dungeon and dying constantly when we're not getting any reward? So it creates this weird dynamic.
Okay, here's the other thing. I know that experience is given by gold in that system, but what I'm talking about when I say why not use it as experience in general, I mean like life experience for the characters. Yeah, it doesn't really translate because they're technically not leveling, which means they aren't learning, quote unquote, I guess. But I don't know. I immediately start thinking, well, what if I want to still go through it because my character just wants to fight everything that's in there and say that he lived to tell the tale, right? I cleared the dungeon and I lived to tell you about it. Doesn't need to be something that is monetary necessarily. It could be purely boastful. And people could believe him or not, whatever, but he knows that he did it. And he goes around telling people that he did it. And he can show people the scars or whatever, and they still might or might not believe him, but it means something to him, right? I don't know. if the premise is set up in such a way that I'm aware that I will not be getting a lot of gold, I will make a character that's suited for that, I guess. Or I can make a character that wants the gold and tries to take everything that's in there to then pawn off as if it's a rare thing. I don't know. Would you earn experience by selling things? Like, if you took a sword, sold it for a bunch of gold, is that now experience? I actually don't know. Is that something that OSR supports? Does anybody know? I'm gonna look it up. OSR. Well, I actually don't. OSR gold. From selling. Experience. I don't know. Experience. My goodness, I can't spell. Treasure and experience. Okay. Thank you, Reddit. You get the XP upon returning the gold to a safe place, i.e. back to town. No need to spend it, no need to actually convert the jewelry and gems to gold first either. Granted by returning gold to town. You didn't need to do anything with it, but you often would have expenses, such as training costs, blah, 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 blah. The challenge was, can I get to the dungeon, get something, and get it out? So XP was granted upon getting it out back safe to town. Okay. Some systems only grant the XP for money spent. Okay. So, in which case, could I not also do the whole, like, get random shit to then sell to people? Right? I don't know. I guess technically, if we want to be if we want to follow the rules as written, if we want to be raw, then technically no. But I don't know. I don't see why not at the same time. Because technically anything that is inside of the dungeon that is guarded by the monsters would then be valuable, right? Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Awake.
Good. We're currently talking about motivations and keeping players coming back to your games. And
for the next session.
Just in general, I guess. At the moment, we're going over OSR stuff. So I don't know if we're going to get to other things, but at least at the moment, he started by saying the roleplay is what keeps people coming back, which, yes. And then now we're on this point of, he was running a mega dungeon in OSR rules, and there's not a lot of gold in it, which is how you get your experience, right? I've looked it up now. You usually get the gold, bring it to town. That's how you get your experience, right?
Yeah, it was fucking weird.
Which I'm fine with it. I understand you got your valuables, you got back, whatever, right? And he's saying, well, why would they want to keep staying in this dungeon if they aren't getting a lot of gold? And I gave a bunch of reasons, personal glory, blah, 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 right? You could create motivations for your character that aren't purely wealth-based, easily.
Yes.
But I was also wondering if you could technically take things out that people might find valuable, not necessarily artifacts that you know are valuable, or gemstones or whatever, and that could also count for the experience, right? You don't have to have it be gold necessarily. Though, if we want to be, like I was saying, raw, then I guess not, because it has to have a monetary value. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you can essentially just give something that monetary value.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because, like, as a character, could I not have them try to make the argument that this is valuable because I got it out of the dungeon? you know?
Oh, well, what I was going to say is, like, let's say you're going down there for, like, herbs or something that doesn't have a monetary value inherently, but maybe there's a bounty on it. Like,
That's what, yeah, exactly. Something like that.
like the Duke wants, like, goblin foreskins or something.
Sure.
Who fucking knows? He's making a potion.
Sure. Virility potion, for sure. It's the early ED treatment.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you go there, you get
actually
a bunch.
not even my fucking joke.
Oh, okay. But legitimately, I wonder. I wonder if that's. I mean, I would be fine with it, right? I mean, we would be fine with that in general, just because you're the character. If you're gonna try to make the argument that this thing is valuable, well, we're gonna see if you can, right? Like, absolutely. And then you bring it out there, and then everybody goes, "Oh, that's like a piece of shit," and you go, "No, I got
not
this.
a piece of shit.
I got this from." The den of a lizard, a giant lizard that lives in the dungeons, and it looks like it's ancient. In fact, and just starts
become a snake oiler.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Can you not just do that? I feel like you should be able to, but then again, OSR is a different kind of beast in a lot of senses.
Yeah.
But I will say. He's talking about how this mega dungeon is taking more contemporary things in terms of, or it could take more contemporary things in terms of the story and putting it into the system that isn't, I guess, quote unquote, designed in that way, where you get, if you don't get a lot of gold, you don't get your experience. So it's like, it's weird to not give gold a lot of the time. Or valuables, excuse me, I guess, a lot of the time, so that they can level up and everything. But my whole thing is that I don't know anything about this adventure, and I don't know if the people just made it so that you could still do it without doing that, right? And from what I gather, that's the case, because he ran this for a year. Yeah. So, but he also did say that he did things outside of the dungeon, because he made homebrew stuff that they wanted to do outside of the dungeon, and that might be because they were looking for gold and all of that kind of stuff, and they wanted that, which is totally fine if that's the experience you want, and that's what you were hoping for an OSR actual module, right? To then give them that feel. I just don't know if that makes it like a good or a bad thing, I guess, It's raised a lot of questions in my mind. Anyway. Timothy says, "Hi, Boo."
Hello.
Here's the chat for you.
Okay.
I think experience gained is based on gold value retrieved from the dungeons. Not sure whether you gain it before or after selling, though. Well, there you go. Yes, it is when you get it to town, apparently. So, the way it works does make it usually better to avoid fights if you can. True. There could be something connected to the plot in the dungeon. Also true. You're probably not getting those goblin foreskins without a fight. Well, you never know.
Yeah,
you can cast sleep.
Depends on the fight.
Yeah, also true.
On your definition of fight.
You just have to get creative entropy. True. The Duke needs the bedroom potion so his partner won't leave. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
We can't have the Duchess leave.
All right.
That was actually a Dagoth error.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Guys.
You remember that video that I sent you that was like Reddit Dagoth as a Skyrim follower?
Yeah.
That's what he literally says. That it's like, okay, Nerevar, don't destroy them completely. I need their foreskins for a potion, you see.
Fair enough.
Great.
Gotcha.
I think you have to remove the realism or the economy.
I turn him way up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is
gold, and just go for, we're digging in the dungeon to
go.
get treasure to level, and that's our motivation, and you got to give it to them. You got to let them level. That, when you look at original Dungeons and Dragons, is pretty much what it tells you to do. You want to dig deep and dive down to the dungeon, be challenged, and then level up, get gold, get treasure, get magic items. This is what we want. We don't want to be stingy. If you're going to run that kind of campaign, that's something different. The hook can't be the mega dungeon, because the mega dungeon is, by its nature, probably not that interesting.
Well, again, so
make it interesting.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, I I'm
Right?
confused, I guess, because he seems perfectly able and willing to do homebrew stuff. So I know that that's something that is fine with him. So then I also can't, I guess, square away the fact that you could have it be that if you want other people to play this one, when you read it and you go into it, you then say, okay, guys, so I was hoping to maybe do this mega dungeon. But the catch is that it doesn't actually give a lot of gold as you clear it, so you're not going to level that quickly or really that much. So, do you think that you want to play this, and maybe we could have you guys make some characters that would fit into that kind of a theme? Like, it just seems easy to me to then say, oh, yeah, I'm going to make, as I said before, I'm going to make this character who wants to get through it so that he can boast that shit to everybody. He wants it for his personal glory.
Yeah,
you know,
that's not hard to do.
It's not. I don't think so. But again, if your players then go, well, no, actually, I'd rather do like an actual OSR experience where we get gold and we really level up a lot and everything, and then you go, oh, okay, fine, yeah, we can do that instead.
Yeah,
right. Like,
and something that I don't understand why it's like, hey, this mega dungeon doesn't give a lot of gold, and I'm concerned if the players won't want to stick around. Can you not just add gold?
Yeah, that's the other thing, right?
More gold to the rewards? Like, what?
And like, he was talking about how the players that he had better things to say about his homebrew stuff than really the mega dungeon because they weren't as interested in it. And my immediate thought is, well, that's because you gave them the experience they wanted instead, which was giving the gold and stuff. So you could have then just said, oh, this gives gold. Right? Yeah. Like you're saying, just make the dungeon give gold and other valuables and stuff so they can level. But also, is it the fault of the game, or is it the fault of the module necessarily if it's still playable? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know nothing about this module. That's the thing. If it's,
please tell me you're willing to like do some homebrew on a module and not just run it 100% like it's supposed to be run. Well, it's, quote, supposed to.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's already proven because he did homebrew shit outside of the dungeon.
Yeah, yeah. So that's very strange.
It's just my assumption is that there might be poor design here, potentially because they don't give enough for you to level in the dungeon, so you can't necessarily actually beat the dungeon as easily as you could if it actually gave the appropriate amount of valuables for experience. But I don't know, because I have gotten not very much.
Yeah, like, we don't have all that info.
So, sure, it could be a problem if you're going for one specific type of experience, but I don't know anything about it, and you've given me very little. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Exploration. That's what I said.
So let's say that your hook is exploration.
Okay.
And you're going to do a hex crawl type game.
Okay.
Cool. But again, if you're running an old school game, which is what I'm mostly talking about on this channel,
sure,
and you're getting XP for gold, and you get that XP when you return the gold to effectively civilization, when you're hex crawling into wilderness, you're going to level really slow, and it's going to be very dangerous. And what's going to make the player characters keep coming back every week is hopefully the discovery around them. And if you run a very interesting world, then maybe that's enough. And maybe they don't care to level up too much. But if you're playing an old school game, it can often be pretty deadly at low levels, meaning that if you're out in the wilderness and you encounter a lair, that could be very bad. So low level characters are tough to run in that situation. So in order to make the hook exploration, we've got to also make the hook that there's things in the world they can gain beyond levels, because those levels are going to come slow. And when I say exploration here, I mean hex exploration. So again, rolling back, if you're going to make a mega dungeon, they've got to find lots of gold so they can go back and level up quickly. That's the hook. The hook is leveling, right?
Okay. So I guess then before we go too much further, I guess that is his fix is to add the gold into the dungeon.
Okay, great. So then he was doing that.
Fair enough.
That's all I needed to know.
I don't know if he was doing that, but I know that that's what he's saying that you should do if you're going to be doing a mega dungeon, is make sure that they have the gold so that they can level.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's still weird with the whole, like, well, if there's no point in getting a lot of gold, then why are they interested in the dungeon? That's still something I do not agree with as a take.
Yeah.
But if we are purely going from the OSR brain, then I guess, sure, right?
Yeah.
And again, not saying that OSR is bad or anything. All I'm saying is maybe
it's
we could
just
be
a different beast.
Maybe we can be a little bit more flexible with OSR.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. I don't know.
Unless he's trying to go for like 100, like 1,000%,
and if
original shit.
If that's what he wants, and he's doing that for his channel and everything, then absolutely fair. Ignore me. I have no, like, that's fine. I do not care. But what I'm just saying in general, if you are going out there and playing OSR yourselves, you out there in the audience, and you find this kind of a thing as a problem, then that's, it could be a problem, or you could maybe tweak it here and there, or maybe tweak how you want to present this as a game. I don't know. It's, what is the experience that you want? Play the game in the way that you want it to be played, I guess, and run it the way that you want to run it,
Yeah.
That's the easiest thing in the world, I think.
Yeah.
The hook for exploration is discovery of cool items and artifacts. That's going to make the player characters get stuff, and getting that stuff is going to make them want to keep going.
True.
They're delving into ruins. They're finding cool magic swords. They're finding treasure maps. This then pushes them forward. They may not get that gold right away, thus the level, but they will get the items.
And are the weapons and stuff not considered valuables?
Apparently not.
Okay. Okay. I don't know.
Right.
It's immediately my thought is, well, that's valuable though. Like, that sword is maybe 40 gold. Like,
yeah.
Who knows, right? But sure. All right. If the rules are strict, then the rules are strict. There's nothing that I can do about those.
Yeah. I think back then they very much were.
I very, very well could be. I don't know.
And again, maybe this is something for a little bit of a higher level, and I've talked about that before here as well.
Sure.
But what about the idea of just being heroes?
Yeah,
Heroes
okay. That was the other thing that I said, yeah.
So going back to that video that I watched and many videos that I make, where we're creating adventures where it's effectively you're saving somebody, you're doing a thing to be a hero.
Sure.
Where does this come from? How do we do this? How do we make this work? Well, I think for me, part of the reason why I've had success with these types of adventures is because I've run a lot of one-shots. And at one point, I was running a one-shot a couple times a week with different people. And in a one-shot, nobody levels up, right? In a one-shot, you don't care about the gold. You're basically just trying to do it. So the theme of it can very easily be, we're escaping from this thing, we're trying to break into this thing, we're stealing this thing, and that's it, right? It's a thing that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this can be a little bit linear, like obviously there can be options, but basically what the hook there is it's just each time it's kind of completing a thing, winning that quest, if you will. But if it's a campaign, there's got to be something more. If we're sending them off to rescue somebody or to figure out why the well is tainted and there's no gold and there's no magic items, what are the players getting from this? Here is something a little bit different. This, I think, is what I would call like a more narrative situation.
Bro.
And I found, again, in later game, and I've talked about this before, like in my campaign currently where they're in 7th and 8th level, they're enjoying this kind of thing because they have already leveled up, got cool items, and they are in the position to change the world in not just I killed the Dragon King and now all of a sudden the land's free, but deeper political ways, more like kind of earth-changing ways that are more subtle. And
So if we're coming from the perspective of new characters need more motivation than just the run-of-the-mill, you're hero, you're exploring, or you're there to roleplay, I can understand that to a degree. I don't necessarily agree with it, because it might just be me, but I find the experience valuable, the actual playing the game more valuable regardless of experience and such. A lot of the time, I'm not really worried about leveling up. A lot of the time because, I don't know. I'm there for a good time, not for a long time necessarily, right? If I'm not leveled up enough and I die, what am I gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
I'd rather focus on the moment to moment kind of interactions and everything that we find and all that kind of stuff, like all of the potential intrigue and stuff, and just being in that world and being in that life that I've kind of put forth. That's where I'm at. And I immediately just, and again, it might just be because OSR is different, but I immediately am just like, yeah, let's fucking do it so that we're just heroes. We're goddamn heroes when we're level 1. You know, like, that's fine. We only get up to 5th level. Hey, whatever. I trust that you've made this so that it works, you know?
Yeah.
It's not as much about that to me. But that seems to be antithetical to the idea of the system, I guess. If
at least in some ways,
right?
Yeah.
If you run it that way, so I don't know. I guess I am totally down to play OSR stuff, but I don't care if it's pure OSR or not. I guess.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we are still here to have fun.
Yeah. And, like, not to say that doing it one way or the other is more fun or better, right? Like, it's just... I don't care. Right? Like, I just want to be there having the time. Whether it be a good time or a bad time. But it's not usually ever a bad time for me, because I find the enjoyment. Regardless of what the fuck is going on. So, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem.
Could be you.
I might be the problem. And you know what? That's fine.
Talked about this a little bit in the human scale video. They're at the point where the hook for them is the world. They are invested in this world. There's NPCs in this world that they have met and that they want to work with. They want to defeat. They want to save. They want to help thrive. The world is the hook. And that can be hard to establish and to create on a brand new adventure. So I think that what we often see when a few things, when you're watching somebody build something. So kind of breaking down this kind of, I've done it, other people have done it. Basically, in the beginning, and we're talking an old school game, you can create this idea that there's an evil lich, and the lich is basically, polluting the land, and ultimately they needs great heroes to destroy them. But at low levels, the players aren't going to really touch that. So that might be in the background.
Yeah.
You might create a situation where the heroes might be sent off to places unknown to explore a mountain where there might have been a lost artifact. But again, at low levels, they're probably not going to be doing that unless they're part of a larger exposition. What they're going to be doing is delving into dungeons or the like to recover treasure. And this is how they level up. So unless you change that structure of the game, even if you're building out your campaign, there's a lich king that's destroying the lands. Ultimately, there's a magical weapon that has to be quested for. It's going to require, 500 leagues of travel through the wilderness.
Yeah, I also like Frostborn.
In the beginning,
it's crazy.
The player characters are just people in this world. And those people need a motivation to get them going.
Is this not strange?
No, yeah, it is a little bit strange because you're also there to play the game.
I'm bursted with ideas, man.
Yeah, it's strange.
I think that this really cements my love for the milestone system in D&D and the like.
Yeah.
Right? Because it feels so much better to me that the overarching, or I guess the day-to-day and everything is rewarded because you are still alive and going through it. You've gone through so much experience that you then get to the point that you've learned from it and you've improved yourself, right? And yeah, sure, getting the experience points and everything, seeing number go up, get big, absolutely cool too. But I guess I find it so much more meaningful to the character that they, because the number doesn't matter to the character. Yeah. The character's just there. So I feel like I'm so much more connected, I guess, to the character when I also don't need to worry about that number. And that I'm just like, fuck, man. We just went into the den of some goblins and we came out and we did it. Like we got them all out of there somehow, either by killing them or maybe saying, "Hey guys, stop it." And they go, "Well, okay, I guess so." Right? Like,
wouldn't that be funny if you just go into a monster den? It's like, "Oh, okay, fine."
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, going, "Well, shit. You know, now that I've actually been in like actual combat, now I can be like, well, maybe I should guard myself a little bit better here and there and all that, and get better like armor and stuff, and maybe I can do this cool spin move that I've been working on. You know?
I learned how to spin after killing like 30 people.
Right? Like it's way easier if there's a lot of people around me if I spin with my sword. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how I never thought of this.
How did I? Well, you know, practical experience, I guess. So, but I don't know. I also just think like, even at low levels, I can put myself in that position to then say, oh yeah, I want to figure out what's going on and understand things and learn about these other people and what's going on around. Like, just in general, without needing to worry about the gold and the level aspect, you know, the actual experience aspect. Because even if we had that, it'd be like, well, there's still a bunch of fucking people, you know?
What about the blockchain running on electricity you got by burning coal from the earth?
True.
It's taken a little bit out of context from Viridian and fucking Entropy, but just seeing that.
I get you. But yeah, so legitimately, I don't know. It's so.
That was a good opening.
It's just so strange to me to hear this kind of talk, but I understand it from the perspective of OSR, because if you want that pure experience, you're not getting it if you are playing it the way that feels more natural to me. Which it might not feel as natural to the people who play OSR. So it's a me problem. It is. It's just a pure me problem. But like at the same time, I don't see how, you know.
Yeah, it's more so just a style thing.
It is.
You know, it was just the style of the game back then.
It is.
And
it is.
Now that things have changed, you know.
Yeah, but I don't think they've changed that much, you know? Yeah, sure, you don't get experience by getting the treasure home, but you still could play it that way and still have the same experience with the narrative and everything, and still having things be
I know. I just mean the fact, in how it's raw.
Yes, exactly. It's weird. It's weird that it's not embraced more, I guess. To fit that system, because like he was saying with the other thing, it's like when you put the contemporary ideas into the system for like that mega dungeon, it doesn't seem to mesh as well, and I just go, well, they didn't balance it right, I guess. I don't know. You could potentially still could work if they still gave you the treasure, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Because like really the only thing you would be changing in that scenario is just how you get more of the gold. Not the fact that you aren't getting gold or that you are getting more gold. It's just how you're getting it.
Yes,
like
exactly.
It doesn't always have to be blank.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I guess I'm still just very confused.
Yeah.
But also, in a meta sense, The players need a hook. And the hook for early level in this kind of game is the treasure.
Sure.
So you've got a few options here. Without changing rules, the basic way is to just have your first several adventures be based around that.
Sure.
There is a treasure map. There's a lost place that there should be treasure. There's these things. That should be enough motivation for you as a player and you as a GM to get going. You don't have to dig so deep into these other stories. They can literally just be a line in your campaign notes until you get to higher levels. And that's totally okay.
That's just in general.
Don't burn
for
yourself
like
out and
everything.
get yourself all held up about this lich when they're on first level, because it's not going to matter. This whole idea of like, they should meet the lich in the first adventure. I don't agree with that.
I also don't necessarily agree with that.
I also don't agree with that.
It depends on, like...
Who was saying that?
It depends on what you're trying to set up and how feasible that is and how much that makes sense. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Immediately, I'm just like, they could meet, like, one of the Lich's subordinates in the first adventure. Yeah.
I wouldn't say they need to meet the Lich. I would say they should see, if you really want to, like, establish him, have them find the result of his actions somewhere.
Yeah. Like, it can be a million different things that aren't the Lich.
Yeah, like, let's say they're outside of town and they're, like, walking through a field and they see that, like, just outside town, there's this area of a field that's, like, just withered and gray and black.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a fucking small marsh. It's like, what the hell is all that? Why is that there? Well, there's a fucking lich poisoning the land. It's like, oh.
Exactly.
That's how you should do that.
Exactly. It's just, it's easy enough to do. I don't know who, like, I get the foreshadowing thing, sure, but you don't do it with the one who would just go, you're dead.
Yeah, right? Because,
know?
I mean, the Lich does not need humans. He needs dead people.
Yeah.
And would you look at that? You're people that could become dead.
Exactly. Like,
You are very weak.
it's just one of those things. You just... Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
We agree.
I swear this is one of the only Monster Hunter games where I've had, like, 4 times as much honey as I do herbs.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
Let them go where they go. Let them be motivated by what they're motivated by, which at the beginning will be outside player motivation, wanting their characters to level up. Then, little by little, character motivation. They've met people in the world. And at that point, if the Lich is something they want to deal with, then, yeah, that's the deal. If something else has happened and they're doing something else because that's what their characters want to do, then that's the campaign. And we've talked about this so many times before.
I agree.
So there you go. I feel like I might be treading on old ground here, but I kind of was putting it together in my head because I was thinking to myself, you know, what is the hook? Why do we play every week? Why do I have a group that since 2016-ish, we've played almost every week? And I realize it's not always the same thing.
True.
On a meta level, these days, we're friends. We love to get together and play.
True.
But on a more practical level in the game and the various campaigns we've run, the actual hook changes and shifts as the player characters grow in the world, as the players learn the world. So know that the hook will bring them back at first. But just like any good pop song, you play it over and over and over again, that's a song you make fun of the next year as being terrible.
Also true.
Run your Mega Dungeon, but don't run it too long. Run your Heroic Quest, don't run it too long. Run your Human level, but don't run it too long. Mix it all together, create a world that is moving and changing, and that will be the campaigns and group that will last. So I would love to hear your stories about this, what you guys do to kind of deal with that. Like if you don't love XP for gold and you have a different way that you motivate the levels in the beginning, how do you do it? Let me know what you do. I always love to hear that. Also, if something, maybe this will be a deeper conversation if we get some ideas in the comments and we'll kind of go from there. Keep in mind that I always kind of do that. If people are commenting and something sparks my imagination, I will make a video about it.
Yeah,
so
fair.
Go ahead and comment if you have an idea. Also, check the description. Down there, you're going to find a link to my podcast that I do with KR King.
Oh, cool.
Monsters and Treasure. Really fun. KR has D&D Homebrew. Check them out as well. Also down there, you're going to find links to my Patreon and my Discord, where there's lots of great conversations going on about running games, playing games, designing games, and just games in general.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, like, I don't disagree with the sentiment. I don't disagree like entirely with anything really that he said. It's just it's just, I guess, OSR. It's one of those things that baffles me here and there with how people run it or have designed things to now be in it, I guess, like it seems like, and not saying that it needs to, but it seems like that people don't want it to change, right?
Well,
which is fine.
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it would be the same thing as, playing, I don't know, Dark Souls 1 versus playing Dark Souls 3. Or Demon Souls and Dark Souls 3. Or Elden Ring, you know what I mean?
It is different. And there are improvements on the later things and everything. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But
if you start putting the improvements of the later things into the older things, it starts to become less of the older thing.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. But the quote unquote improvements that I would be putting in this now are just the personal motivations and everything that I already can get, right? Like nothing to change the actual game, just to change.
It's just changing some motivations and your character motivations and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And having that be more of the idea rather than making it purely just like, oh yeah, treasure, gold, all that, right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't disagree, and I don't want to change OSR. I just wonder about the mindset sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's again, it's fine. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to the next video that we've got here. How to be a great GM. Our dearly departed. But we were speaking about hooks and such, keeping people playing the games, and so I figured that this kind of goes into it a little bit as well. Of add an encounter that the PCs expect, but make it grand.
Okay.
Good old guy. Before he retired. It's not like he's gone. He's doing his other shit. It's just weird that he retired.
Yeah, he's just not doing his How to Be a Great GM anymore.
Yeah, which is his whole ending, or his whole goodbye video for that was very strange the way he put it. So,
what did he say?
Well, he was talking about how he was talking to the people at YouTube and how they were like, yeah, so you're not doing good in the numbers as much anymore, so you got to start doing your next thing. So what's the next thing? You don't want to make this kind of channel again, so what's your next thing? And that was like the biggest thing that I was just like, nobody fucking said that.
Yeah, no one said that. What the fuck are you on about? Nobody talks to YouTube.
Well,
they don't give a shit about you.
So, to be fair,
it's hard for. Let me put it to you this way. There were times when it was hard for the fucking federal government to get through the fucking mountain of red tape that YouTube has like access information.
It's true.
No one on YouTube actually talks to people at YouTube.
That is not true though, because some of the partners, yeah, exactly. Some of the partners actually do have people that they can talk to. It's rare. It's rare, but the partners do, like the actual YouTube partners from yesteryear at this point, the ones who were the firsts a lot of the time, had people and have people that actually do talk to them. Which is great for them. Very good. It's only for them.
Yeah, it's only for them.
Which is, whatever. Anyway.
All right, you're going to be a YouTube guy, and we're going to assign you this 3 million people.
Right.
Go.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a weird thing to say about that. I don't know. But I'm fine with him moving on to other channels and stuff. If he just didn't want to do this anymore, that's fair enough. You know?
Yeah.
Don't do something you don't want to do, obviously.
No.
Sorry, cats. Yelling through the door again. But so I think the amount of experience the guy has is actually very valuable, especially with him re-going over topics that he used to do back in the day, and giving a fresher perspective that might or might not be different, right? Just to see, what he's kind of thought now as opposed to then. But unfortunately, we're not going to get that anymore. And I think it's a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to be talking about an encounter the PCs expect, but making it grand. So, here we go.
Your players are about to go into a known encounter with NPCs. Stop! Stop! Stop right now! I beg of you, stop! And watch this video first.
This was a year ago, this video, I think. So, it's the newer style, the weird energy, all that.
Yeah. Yep. That unfortunate evolution that a lot of people went through to start appeasing the algorithm.
Exactly. Hey, Boo.
We will never have energy, chat. Never. Don't you worry.
I'm sleepy
We're
right now.
always tired.
Yeah.
Yes.
My eyes hurt, actually. So, hey, Boo, YouTube wants you to do Pokemon card videos again, says Timothy. There you go.
Dude.
I still got to send you those files.
Oh, I found it. Ah! Bitch.
Nice. What does Guy do now, then? He's got 2 channels that he's started. One that's for Star Trek, which is neat, and then the other that's for, I think it was going over, travel and exploration of, like, historical places and going into history a bit, which is also neat. So, hey, more power to him. Absolutely. If that's what he wants to do, great. But yeah. All right, fight time. Lootable corpse creation. There you go.
Yeah, Timothy, I fucking wish. So expensive. So expensive.
Hello, and welcome to How
A
to
single
Be a
hello
Great
will
GM,
suffice.
which you already are because you're watching these videos. That's brilliant. My name is Guy, and we are talking about running known encounters. So these are encounters that your players know are coming up. They have anticipated them. They know that they're going to happen. They're like, oh yes, we're going to fight the big bad. Before you launch into that, stop, pause, take a moment, send your crew to go get pizza or food or whatever it is. Sorry, we're on a health run this year, so send them to go and get, celery sticks and hummus and all that kind of yummy stuff. Take a moment, take a break. Think, stop, remember this video, remember. When we are coming to known encounters, the players, they are anticipating this thing. The critical thing to do is to tease, is to play it out, to suck, as Nicolas Cage once said in a film, the very essence of life out of that encounter. Don't just charge in blindly and throw the encounter at them and let them beat them. That's not being a master of your art. You want to be able to manipulate the players into really, really anticipating this encounter, and when they defeat it, to having an exhilarating experience. It is almost a given in most encounters that the player characters are going to be going through that they will survive. It's only the big epic showpieces, the big battles and things where there is a risk of ultimate permanent party death. All right?
Well, no. What? I mean, immediately, no, it's a challenge all the time. It just is, because otherwise it would be boring. Yeah, I expect them to get through it, but I don't, I'm not, it's not like I'm anticipating that anybody's gonna die, but I am putting mortal peril in front of them, because the dice will go as they will and everything, right? Okay. Maybe this is why you stopped doing this, because this is exhausting a little bit.
Yeah, no.
Already?
It totally is.
So fair enough, whatever. Not wanting to be a part of that algorithm anymore, I can understand that. Anyway, Oh, okay. So just thinking about it, thinking about what he's said so far, what do you imagine he means by teasing and playing it out and all of that kind of stuff?
Having an actual, dialogue, or role-playing it a little bit, or honestly a million different things that just come to my mind immediately.
Right. It's, I guess, yeah, we'll see what he means, but I just, yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, you've foreshadowed him, or whatever it is, and potentially going to get to it is part of the experience to quote unquote tease it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I need more, I guess. Here we go.
Yeah.
No, yes, the first step is always to send your crew to an undefended coastal settlement for food and other supplies. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we play in a fantasy kind of environment, or science fiction, which still is fantasy in the broadest of terms. Death is not permanent in most games. I know. Stop typing your comments. I can hear it already.
Christ.
But in my game, death is permanent, and my players know. I get that. Okay.
Yeah,
you
that's
can do
very
more
annoying.
with your encounters. Trust me. This is the video I am telling you to watch because it has.
All right, so you have just told me to watch your video for 2 minutes, and I am watching your video right now, brother.
And
I swear to God.
honestly, if I were watching this on my own, I would be dangerously close to not watching it anymore.
Exactly. Like, you just, please just get to your point rather than going over the same thing over and over and over and over for the beginning portion. Like, this is 13 minutes, and you have taken 2 minutes of my life away. You know?
Yeah, this is completely unnecessary and boring.
Like, it's weird to, and I know he's not, but it's weird to project this weird self-conscious, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Energy. That,
vulnerability.
Yes.
How about that?
In a way, yes, because it's like, please watch my video. God, please watch my video before you do the thing, because you'll do it wrong. But if you watch my video, you'll fucking do it right. And I'm over here like, okay.
And I'm just over here like, can we just can you please just be quiet and
get to the thing to tell me why I should do it this way, please?
Yeah.
Insecurity. Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
that's the word.
That's a good one.
That's the word.
Ideas on how to make the encounter more interesting. Just because the player characters know that they're going into encounter. We know that the bad guys are in that warehouse. We know we're going to storm into the warehouse and we're going to destroy them in there. That's a standard scenario. That's not a difficult scenario to envisage it happening. Right? You might have thought, oh, well, they're going to try and look for a back entrance, or maybe they do look for a back entrance. Oh, they're going to try and find secret doors in there, and maybe they do. That's wonderful. Those are all wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunities. Already, the player characters are starting to make more of the encounter than just blindly charging in and attacking. However, if you have players like I have had in the past, they will just charge in through the front door, relying on their super elite character builds, as well as on their immortality complex and their lack of... I don't want to say role-playing chutzpah, but I'm going to say it because that's what it is. Some players just don't really care if their characters live or die, and they just want to get into the combat and roll some dice.
And that's...
That's fine.
Okay.
So what do we do? Lots of preamble now. Okay, get on with it!
Oh, shut up. You can't lampshade this. Shut up. Like, you lampshade the problem, it's still a problem, first off.
Yes.
Second off, so they die if they're not going to... Like, if they just rush in, they die. Okay. Yep.
That's what it should be, anyway.
I mean, if they still survive it, hey, that works for them, that works for me. But if they don't, they don't, right? Like, that's fine. It's fine however they want to do it. If that's the characters, that's the characters, right? I don't need to then force them to go through it in such a way, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's the implication, but I'll be charitable and say that probably isn't what he means, and say, unfortunately, it sounds that way a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's not what he's talking about, I guess. So, okay. Tell me about the things. Engagement, please. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Exactly. If they die, they die. Don't you always want to go to Valhalla?
exactly.
Oh, yeah, yes, all right, fine. So, what we need to do when we are building an encounter, we've already created this encounter. We've already got an idea. The players know that there's the big boss and he's got several goons inside of that warehouse.
God.
We need to build up tension. And the way that we do that is by allowing the player characters to gain knowledge as they are about to engage in this encounter. Every piece of knowledge that the players gain should add to the tension of the encounter. I know it sounds pretty straightforward, but how do we do that? How do we actually flex that little creative muscle and allow it to create these tension building moments?
So I'll give you a few, easily enough. You give, as in fact with the introduction that we were talking about of the Lich for first level players, if you want them to see something about it, you do the same kind of thing of showing the results of the big bad or whatever being here. What is, like, let's go with the warehouse aspect. Let's go with its head of the gang that you're going after. They're in here. They've got a bunch of gangers that are all in there too. What is the result of that you can see? Oh, okay. The warehouse is lit up. You can see that there are people patrolling around it. You can see that people are on edge. They've got their weapons out already. And you can see multiple cars that are around this warehouse parked in places so that they can be used as cover easily, right? You can see that in the back, because the warehouse is now on a dock, I've decided. You can see that in the back there is the dock yard has speedboats. It looks like they're meeting with somebody potentially here. Or they have it there as a backup plan to get away, potentially. You don't know. If you had some binoculars and you were trying to get up high to look in, you might even be able to see the gang is in there meeting another gang. Ooh, they're doing a deal, right? Ooh, they're gonna be buying weapons and such, and so there's a lot of heavy ordnance even in there. Ooh, if you attack them now, potentially you could actually get fucked because they have so many weapons there that they could actually use against you, potentially. And then, ooh, maybe there's I could go on, right? That's something that you can do immediately to show them what's going on around, give them that kind of tension of, ooh, this isn't going to be as fucking easy as you think, idiot.
And just make sure that if you ever do that, just always make sure to start your sentence with, ooh. That way they know it's important.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yes. So that's a way. Other than that, I guess you could give them, you could do narration in the sense of like NPCs talking about them. Give them like, yeah, they're gonna be there and it's gonna be bad if those two gangs actually don't hit it off. It's gonna be a bloodbath, okay? And there could be people that are walking by that might get caught in the crossfire here and there, or just stray bullets. And we can't get the cops there because there's too many of them, and we don't have a lot of guys this night because there's a lot of other crime going on, and so we're spread thin at the moment. And if you do get shot, the EMTs are going to be about 10 minutes, so don't fucking die, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like,
try not to die.
Exactly. Like, give them that information that way, to really put the seriousness of the situation and how absolutely they're fucked if they fuck it up, I guess. What else? Let's see. What's another way that you could give them that kind of information?
Yeah.
Those are really like my main go-tos of looking
Yeah, those
at
are
it
your main
and-
ones, honestly.
and
Like, and they're
having
not
people
bad
tell 'em.
ones because they're sensible.
Right? Like, I can't think of any others right now that there probably are. So I guess, give me some shit. Here we go.
Well, as the players are walking towards the warehouse,
Oh,
there's
hey.
nothing wrong with having an NPC suddenly pop up going, wait, I don't think you
There you go.
understand. The warehouse you're about to charge into, because I couldn't help overhearing it while you were at the pub with your planning. Think creatively about how
Okay,
the
thank
NPC
you.
would know that the players are going there. All right? It could even be an informant if you've got a guide or a mentor, someone along those lines in your NPC pool already.
I'm glad that he's clarifying more, because like when he said pop up, I went,
Yeah, like, oh, yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if you're like you're walking up to the warehouse
Yeah.
and getting ready, and then a guy pops up from behind a dumpster. Hey, I heard you were gonna
Whoa,
break in there.
Wait a second, guys.
I was
Oh,
listening.
no.
I'm Trash Can Bobby.
Yeah. I'm the Trash King.
I'm the yeah. Honestly, I would kind of love that.
It would be funny. It would be really funny.
And then every time you're in a situation where there's a dumpster nearby, he shows up. He's like,
Whoa!
"Hey, I'm the Trash King."
I'm the Trash
He always
King.
says it.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single time. I'm the Trash King. Call me Oscar.
Yo,
I love it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you, Dave.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I would love that.
Too bad Guy retired. If it would have been cool to have him as a guest, it would be cool to have him as a guest. He might do it someday, potentially. Who knows? With us, but
Probably, yeah, no.
but like on
Probably
a
not.
different podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, legitimately, that would be super fun. It's about the feel of the campaign as well, right? You have that guy pop up every now and then. You probably like. You get him to be established beforehand, obviously, you know?
Yes, exactly.
It's the
And
Trash
like,
King.
yeah, it feels like the Earthbound, like the photography guy
Yeah.
who just comes down every now and then. It's like, hey, I'm time to take your photograph. Say Fuzzy Pickles.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Whoa, looks like you're going into a dangerous situation. I'm here to tell you, it's dangerous. All right.
It's a dangerous situation. And so you can have it as both. You can have it as a legitimate thing and as a comedy thing where it's like, yeah, we fucking know it's dangerous. Yeah, okay, bye.
Yeah, all right.
You know, and he just fucking disappears.
I'm
and
the
then he's
Trash
not in the
King,
dumpster.
so long as
And
you
then
know.
he's not in the dumpster when they check.
Yeah, exactly. He's just gone somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's like, is it a fucking portal?
Trashomancy. Amazing.
Yo.
The Trash King played by Danny DeVito. Absolutely. Hey, I'm the Trash King. Yeah, absolutely. I'm the trash man. I'm the garbage man. I throw garbage.
On garbage day.
With the party, whoever it is, they could give information. You do realize that inside their warehouse, that's where they keep all of the gnome fireworks. Or inside that facility, that is where they keep the antimatter containment reactors. One false shot and everything will go up. And when I say everything, I mean the entire town. What you have now done is you have ramped up a standard encounter of we're chasing some goons into a warehouse. And we are now driving it higher. Perhaps it's even just a guard who's at the door, and the guard is like, I'm not going to stop you. 5 of you, 1 of me, not going to happen. I'm going to just go knock myself out round the corner there. But just remember, it's a highly explosive building. Alternatively,
Sure,
That would
as the
actually be
players
pretty
get
funny.
closer, there is a loud scream, and a body gets thrown out of the second-story window and lands in front of the PCs, and the body has been inverted, or perhaps it's been mutilated or skinned or something.
Yeah, like we said, show them the effect, right?
Yes.
What happens because the thing is in there? Oh, there's a fucking horrible flesh beast inside. Well, it's throwing out the parts that it doesn't need. So it throws out like part of a shoe with like some of the bone in it because it didn't eat all of the bone, all that kind of shit. You know, whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is just a little taster for the player characters, and suddenly they go, I thought we were just following the pickpockets who pickpocketed us in the market. You've ratcheted it up. Now, it might not actually translate into anything in the actual encounter itself. One of the NPCs that they're fighting might have a cleaver or a skinning tool or a inversion ray or whatever. Yes, that's an element that you've added to the actual encounter, but the encounter itself remains pretty much the same as if the characters just walked up to the front door and bashed it in and walked in. So those are things that we need to add in. Things that you should avoid adding in are if a bunch of pickpockets have stolen from the PCs and have run into said warehouse, that suddenly as the PCs walk in, there's a trap that's already been laid for them. That doesn't make sense. That really doesn't make sense. There's not enough time for them to set that up, right? So don't use
unless the trap was always already there.
They put the trap there beforehand, and they are being used as bait. Like, it's not that the pickpockets did it necessarily. Like, obviously...
Well, the pickpockets probably set it up, just not in that moment.
Yeah, and obviously, you don't want to put just random shit in there for no reason. Absolutely. That's just, in general, you don't want things to just not make sense.
Crazy.
Crazy
that.
So, yeah, good job, I guess. Okay.
Moon Knight, random bullshit, go. Although, I don't even know if that's a real comic panel.
It's not a real panel, I don't think. It's an edit, yeah. But it is funny.
It's funny, though. Yeah, it is funny,
It is very funny. But yeah, no, legitimately, I mean, make it so that your encounter makes sense, and if you are, like, I don't know, like, so I have encounters that I have in my brain as to stuff that's going to happen in Vampire potentially, right? At any moment, something could happen that goes along these kinds of lines if they were to do something in certain ways. And I've already kind of made that assumption and planned it beforehand a little bit in my brain. But I do know planning. I will never admit that I plan. But because it makes it more impressive.
You gotta maintain that everything's off the cuff.
That's right.
No, it's totally not.
Except a lot of the time it is. But regardless, I'll never admit. So anyway, I have these things in my head that could go certain ways if they do certain things. And I've come up with the reasons as to why, and I've based it off of their actions, right? And that's just how you make encounters. So even if it's something that's expected, the way that I'm setting it up is not something that I'm necessarily doing right then a lot of the time. Potentially it can be. If somebody says, "Oh, is such and such in the scene?" And then I go, "Oh, that makes sense. Such and such would be in the scene." That's usually the additions that I can make on the fly that are sensible because other people have made sense of it, right?
Like Ring cameras.
Yeah, exactly, like Ring cameras. But so I don't know. It's this video. First off, was weird in the beginning for other reasons, but was weird as well for me to go, oh, they're going to, like, it's just a weird premise to say, oh, they're going to go to this encounter that they know is going to happen. Don't do that yet. Stop them and take some time to vamp up your encounter.
Yeah, because it's weird because the entire, like, we'll use the final boss as an example.
Sure.
If the final boss has already been revealed and you've been telling the story correctly, and like they're not just like, oh, we're going into the final dungeon, I wonder who the final boss could be.
Sure.
Hopefully by that point they know who the enemy is.
Could be there's a twist, but you never know.
Yeah, you get the idea though. You don't want to just throw a random, nobody person that they have no connection to as the final boss. That doesn't make any sense. It's not satisfying. The entire time they've known that person, they've known of that person, they have been building up this encounter. They've been doing it on their own.
Yeah.
So it's weird to me to want to focus so much on building it up even more than they ostensibly already have been.
Yeah, if this is purely just hey, describe the encounter beforehand more in detail so that it's more interesting, then I understand that. you want to flavor things up a bit here and there to show what you're going for, right? Like, okay, yeah, sure. I who isn't doing that before they're in the session? And if you are doing it on the fly, that's fine and everything. But I would assume that you're still doing the thing sensibly, excuse me. And I don't know. This video is weird.
The final boss is just some asshole. Never really works. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's true. It
would be really weird. Honestly, I think that could work only in a campaign that is built a lot around comedy.
Yeah, I think so.
Where that's just another joke.
Yep.
Like, you're going into the final encounter, and the final boss is walking down the steps toward you. He's like, oh, welcome. What is a man? Yeah. And they do the fucking stupid monologue, and then as they're walking down the stairs, they trip, fall, and break their neck. And then, like, it's the little bad guy's assistant who is now, it's like, oh, shit, he died. I guess I'll be the final boss now.
Sure, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. The framing is weird for this video for the purpose that I can see that it's trying to serve, at least at this moment. If that's not the purpose it's trying to serve, then I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So, okay. Dude, those scary stuff seen on Ring cameras videos are so weird, I bet.
Yes.
I don't watch them. They're there, I see them, and I go, huh. And I click off.
Creepy. Anyway.
Oh, that's weird. His cat was the final boss. There you go.
Haha.
GM mental abilities at metagaming to be able to set up these traps that these people have been in. Having said that, you can add in traps, which are simple. Open the door and it explodes. Walk forward onto
That's
this
simple?
floor tile and it drops away into...
I guess.
And if the door exploded, why did how did they get in? Without exploding it?
I assume that they armed it when they got in, right? Like,
oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's... Sure. Sure.
Yeah, right?
To a 20-foot pit with spikes at the bottom. There's laser beams that are across. How did the thieves get through? Well, if one or two of them have been left dead at the bottom or cut into pieces, then they didn't get through. Not all of them anyway. But enough of them did get through that the party should carry on following them.
Okay.
And if the party is kind of getting a bit reluctant, there's nothing wrong with having one of those thieves or whatever it is that you've set up firing at them from across said trap to goad them to come further. But the trap is now presenting a problem. It doesn't have to be a trap, but that's useful. Another option
The door went boom, everyone died, the end.
Also, I'm sorry. So you've opened the door and now you face an obstruction and a guy is shooting at you from the other side, and that is supposed to encourage me to go in?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I have what in the hell?
Like, I get it to an extent, right? It's them taunting them in a way, or at least showing them that they can get through. I understand that it's supposed to be something like that, but at the same time, I'm like, why the fuck did I even put the trap there if I don't want to impede them and make them unsure about actually going in and all of that? Like,
yeah,
that's the purpose of it, I assume. At this point, it's to add that element of danger that might make them not go in there. Potentially, I don't know. I don't know, because I wouldn't do that. I don't know. Like, I would rather stick to what makes sense in the moment. Of like, oh yeah, okay, so you've been following these thieves for a while, and they have stolen some stuff, and they have this, you've been scoping it out because you've been following them covertly. There's this warehouse that they keep going to, right? And in that warehouse, they probably have it trapped because they know how to get in without setting that shit off, but you don't. So if you do take the front door approach, yeah, sure, you open the door. There's a tripwire that you hit while you just step inside, because if you don't notice it, it'll make a gun go off and start to shoot at you, right? Like, because it's sensible, that's fine. You know, it's like a shotgun that's there that just fires and just fucking
Yeah, it's
blows a
Fallout
guy
trap.
away. Yeah, exactly. And it just blows a guy away, and then the sound is also an alarm, and they've potentially taken out one of the people that's trying to assail them. Okay, you know, we have a trap then. Unfortunate that you triggered it and maybe died, but that's what you get for not fucking doing anything but just going in the front door. All right, you know, that could deter them as well, but it at least is sensible. Jesus, sensible in the sense of they want to keep people out of here.
Yes.
And then if that is one trap, then they would have another, because of course they would. That one thing is not enough of a deterrent. Because some people are going to come in still. Absolutely. You have to make that as a, like, and so you put more trap layers because it's their hideout. Right?
Yes.
And if the PCs go to the warehouse, climb the side of the building, or find a vantage point that they can look in, they might be able to see that there's a bunch of traps and stuff if they're able to see that. And then it's like, oh shit, okay, we gotta find a way to get in that isn't that way, or at least now that we're aware of them, now we can disable the traps as we go in that way. You know, like, I'm not
Easy
just
stuff.
going to say, hey, you guys are running at this guy, and he's going into this place, and uh-oh, there's a trap in here. Because, you know, and then some of them died in the trap, and I go, why the fuck did they run into that place?
Yeah, if they knew the trap was there, they're the ones who put it there. Why the hell did they die in it?
If they didn't know about it, then, okay, where
Then
are
why'd
we?
they run in here?
Well, so to get away, first off, which I'd go, okay, yeah, so then what are we doing? What is this place?
Yeah,
And then
that's
after
fair.
the fact is when you start to then have to explain, oh, well, this is actually a different place that was put here by somebody else, and they trapped it in this way. And it's like, why? What? Why? Okay. Is this a well-known thing, or like, what's going on here? And then you have to then go explain that more and more, and you've kind of created something that you now need to really fit in more so. Which again isn't necessarily a problem. It's just a lot more work that I don't necessarily need to do on the fly, right? I don't necessarily want to do that on the fly. So,
Yeah.
either way, and if that works for you, more power to you. Do it. Fucking go crazy. I don't care. That's fine. If you can make it all fit in and make sense, great. I wish I was you.
Is that the thieves know about these traps because the
Yeah,
thieves
thieves. It sounds like we're chasing a gang of ninjas now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
have been here before. And that, as a matter of fact, the encounter is not with the thieves. The encounter is with the warehouse boss, who has finally caught the bastards who've been breaking into this warehouse for the last 6 months. And the players have to go, it's not us, we swear, we just broke in now to catch the thieves. Now, the encounter suddenly shifts and the thieves go, look, we didn't realize you were that strong when we were pickpocketing you. We swear to goodness that we, scouts honor, all that sort of thing, dib. Let's work together to defeat this big boss and then we can share the booty of the warehouse. It's brilliant. What you are doing is you are now repositioning that encounter. So you've added in traps, you've added in some warning signs, you've made the encounter much more juicy. And all you've had to do so far is just to sprinkle in a few little extra ideas. Now, I know...
Yeah, absolutely. You can... hold on. Okay, what's this?
Pacing.
Okay, no, that's not what I thought you were going for. I don't give a shit right yet. Yes, if I want to, quote unquote, sprinkle all these ideas in on the fly, I am perfectly within my right, I suppose, but it... to me, at least for this kind of thing, to then say, like, you can make it work. Don't get me wrong. You can absolutely make it work. But at the same time, I feel like I would like to put more foreshadowing in a lot of the time in my shit. And again, I am fine with the thing that you didn't expect, the subversion of your expectations. If it's done well and everything, it can work very, very well. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong at all. It's just, it depends on the moment that you do it. And I don't know if this would be the moment that I would use if it was me, but then again, I don't know the full campaign, I guess. It would be a whole thing. I would have to think about it. For something so simple as chasing thieves, why would I do that?
Yeah,
that's
honestly,
the thing. Like,
yeah,
I can spice up the thing with making it so that the thieves are going into their hideout. That's as far as I want to go with that. Not say they ran into this random warehouse and now there's a guy here who's trying to get them because they have been stealing from him.
And they've been, like, using the warehouse as a hideout or something.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. It just seems a little bit more far-fetched to me. Rather than saying, okay, they run into this warehouse, and instead of having it be trapped because of the warehouse boss, it's a police sting.
Ah, yes.
Okay, and so
that's a lot more. That's honestly a lot more believable for me.
Exactly. Like, I go, oh, okay, so there's this police sting because there's been a bunch of these break-ins in the warehouses, so they've put themselves here to hopefully stop this place from being stolen from. And so they get run into by these thieves, and the thieves go, oh, fuck! And then the cops go, hey, you guys who are running after them, are you also thieves? And then the players go, no, but also yes, but also not really, I promise you.
We've been stolen from these thieves.
Yeah, exactly. And then the thieves go, hey, guys, get us out of this.
Let's kill these cops.
Yeah, get us out of this, and you'll get your shit back, and you know what? We'll tell you about some better shit. You know, like, then they can offer that shit, and then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not some guy.
Yeah, it is the popo.
The police, because the police would be after these thieves, and because of the grander situation of the warehouse thefts, they would be somewhere in a warehouse, so we can at least say, yeah, it's a little convenient, but it at least makes sense. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you want to do Warehouse Boss, go fucking for it. Go absolutely buck wild. I would not do Warehouse Boss myself.
Yeah.
They're all Ada Wong. Dodging lasers is just something they do every day. True. Ada Wong pickpockets you, indeed. I totally broke in to help. Trust me, bro. Exactly. Rouge the Bat might work better for this. Yes. Maybe the warehouse was a mimic. Hey, there you go. That'd be neat. That's the thing that you could go and, like, say, oh yeah, and so they're running in, and then some of the boxes actually physically move in their way. And then, like, it's starting to make a maze for them as they're running through this warehouse. And it's like, oh, weird, what the fuck? Why are these boxes moving? And then as you chase the thieves and they get to the end, well, uh-oh, looks like there's a big tongue and some fucking teeth. Uh-oh! Looks like they got literally mazed into the mouth of the mimic. And then it's like, oh, now you're here, the mimic is a thing, and the thieves are getting eat. So it's like, oh, do you guys still want to be here with the mimic now being the warehouse? So you'd have to fight the whole warehouse, or you want to try to get the fuck out of here?
Yeah.
You know, like, that would be interesting, for sure. If it's, you know, a fantasy kind of campaign. And it's like, oh, fuck. Well, that's bad luck. But I guess, hey, here we go. And that's more believable, at least to me, in that fantasy world than it would be for Warehouse Boss. I don't know why, but it is.
Yeah.
Because it's also like, it's also using the warehouse, I guess, more so than saying, oh, the warehouse has traps in it. You know? I guess it's just, I don't know. Maybe there's a line that I have that I haven't figured out where it is, but Warehouse Boss is not on the side of the line that I like.
We all love pacing. The pacing is entirely up to you. If you are going to make this an hour or more in your game, it's worth building in these little extra bits and pieces. Now, once you are done with the encounter shouldn't just resolve. There should be more to it. Perhaps now the warehouse owner, if you haven't used it before, now arrives and says, thank you. These rogues have been in here for weeks, plundering and pilfering, and you finally caught them. Here is a reward that you didn't know anything about. Or perhaps, I know for a fact that this is one small little operational branch of a bigger organization. I'd be willing to hire you for some good coin if you take down the entire organization. They've been robbing from me for months. So you've now got a side adventure that has come out of just fleshing out the encounter. So often the encounters end, the players' characters sometimes loot the corpses, sometimes they don't, and then they move on, and that's it. So it has no lingering effect on the players themselves. They're like, yeah, we had that encounter, and it will be forgotten. Think about how many encounters you have actually gone through as a player, and how many of them you actually remember. You only
yeah, it depends, right? Like I don't know. Some of them I still remember, even if they are very mundane. I don't know. I understand the argument. That's fair enough. You know, you want to make things more memorable. You want them to be more of an experience. That's absolutely fair and fine. It's just, you know, do it as a your mileage may vary on how many times a very mundane thing becomes interesting and continues to be interesting, I guess. In the sense that not everything has to lead to something, you know?
Yeah.
I'm fine if you want to have everything be interconnected. That's neat. But it doesn't always have to be. It's just, it really, you have to find the line that you want to put in the sand of the amount of work that you want to do for this encounter or whatever. Like, if you want everything to be connected, that's on this side of the line, and if you want things to be separated, that's on this side of the line, and then, you know, you find your way in the middle here and there to go like, oh yeah, everything, why not? And then it's a bunch of work that I gotta do, which, yeah, absolutely fair if you want to do that, but if you don't have to. It's fine. Just make it so it's an interesting little encounter, you know? And hell, the fucking whole, this is a branch of a grander operation might itself just be a side plot, you know? It's not actually connected to the main thing or anything, and just go, yeah, you can do that if you want. It's up to you. I like the close-up he did when he said sometimes they loot the body, sometimes they don't. Sure, yeah. It's definitely an editing choice.
Remember the ones where there is something to them. Now, do you have to use these ideas of adding in a preamble, of hyping up the encounter, and then a post-work with that encounter, rewarding the players with an NPC, or it doesn't have to be another side quest, it could just be a reward, it could be a little celebration, it could be the sheriff of town comes in and says, well, I would like to give you all a small medal of congression, you know, of not congressional medal, a small medal of congratulations or a recognition of your services, something along those lines. When you think about these encounters, one of the things that you must always be thinking of is, whom does this affect? Forget the PCs for now.
Okay.
Take a step back and say, all right, so these little pickpockets have been caught by the player characters, have had justice dealt out to them in this warehouse. Who was affected by that? Was it the pickpockets? Well, yes, obviously. They're all dead, having been massacred by the PCs. Nice. Who is taking over from those pickpockets? Because there's a gap there now. There's an opportunity. Who is missing those pickpockets? Were they working for a bigger consortium? The warehouse owner, how do they feel about the PCs using fireballs inside their warehouses and burning them down? Perhaps it's the disgruntled guard who was pushed aside by the PCs. Think about who is affected positively and negatively. And quickly, while your players are sorting out the loot or while they're busy doing whatever it is that they're doing, think about the effect that this encounter has now had on the player, on the world.
So in general, I think that you should think about the effects that come from the actions of the players. Consequences to the actions should always just be on your mind, right? So yes, absolutely. What?
Yeah.
Yes. It's definitely a yes, but I don't know, it's the framing of the video that's just throwing me off, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It feels like, yes, I understand doing this in a more fly by the seat of your pants kind of way and going, yeah, and now this is part of the thing. Okay, now this person is now a thing, and it's like, yeah, I've done that too, absolutely. I've said it before. Gale was a guy, and then he became part of the thing, and I went, okay, this is the way that it is now, and I'm all for that. I don't know what it is about the presentation that is throwing me off so much, but the presentation of this video has made me go, like, question that for some reason. And I don't get it. Guy, what have you done?
Yeah.
Hey, Draco Kraken.
Become what you sought to destroy.
Sorry I'm late. Monster Hunter Wild sesh with friends. What's up?
Yep.
Hey, I understand that. No worries. Yeah, no, we're talking about Encounter right now. And spicing it up, basically.
Yep.
Also, if you want to just keep it straightforward and still have a trap at the entrance, just have the thieves push some boxes down. No real setup time needed for that. True.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's as simple as that, for sure. You don't even need it to be, like, the entrance thing or anything. It can be while you're chasing them inside. Like, boxes are great. You can use boxes all the time if you want. Very convenient boxes. But yeah, there are easy ways to come up with actions in the scenes that make sense. And other kinds of things like that, without having to say, there's an explosive on the door now, or there's a spike pit trap now. It's like, okay, because, like, again, it does depend on the believability of the scenario. Yes. So in certain cases, it will be more believable than in other cases. So, just take everything with a grain of salt and just do what works best in the moment, I guess. It's just a lot of the time, at least, a little bit of prep, even if it's right before the session, like for like an hour or less, just to think about it here and there, is good and useful, I think.
Yeah.
So, and you can just kind of iron out some things, and then obviously when the players do something completely out of left field that you had no expectation of, then you can start going, okay, now how does this affect everything? Then you have to start thinking about it, which, understandable. It's the thing that we always say, or at least I always say, you got to be flexible with the game, right? You just do, because everybody's going to be doing shit that you do not expect a lot of the time. And yeah, it's fun. It's good. Let them do it and run with it.
And once you have figured out what the effect is on the world, look at those options and look at any options that might be interesting to pursue, and then launch those options. Because something that my players consistently tell me is they're like, your world always feels alive. It feels like it's a real space. And that, I am convinced, is because I sit back and go, okay, what are the ramifications? Who stands to benefit?
Yep.
Who stands to lose? Where's the money?
Exactly.
And when you do that, you suddenly have all of these things opening up in front of you. You are in charge of then cutting those down and going, well, actually, I don't want to have 20 people mobbing the heroes. I do want to have 1 or 2, because otherwise the heroes are never going to leave town, and there's more interesting things happening elsewhere. Think about it the next time you're about to run an encounter. You can add in so much to the encounter, make it so much more interesting, even though the players know it's coming, by just adding in those ideas. Well, that's it from me this week. Thank you all for watching. I'm doing the heart because I'm finally, I think I'm doing it right. In your comments, in the comment section down below, what do you do to build up encounters in such a way that your players look forward to going into them? Is there something that you're already doing? And if so, give us an example of one of the ones that you set up that worked really well, where the players kind of got completely turned around or were super excited where it was almost more about getting to the encounter than the encounter itself. For more, watch my shorts, which come out on Thursdays, or listen to the podcast, which you can find on all of the major channels, called Becoming a Great GM with Guy. And I look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Wonder if you're still doing
more How to Be a Great GM. Until then, I wish you and yours the happiest of gaming.
Ugh. It just does not work for him, dude.
Yeah, it's yeah. But yeah, again, I'm not, it's another video that I'm not like super against. It's the thing. Like, all of the information is good information.
It's just the examples are kind of
strange.
Yeah, they almost always are.
A little bit.
It's weird.
Yeah. I feel like having a little bit more grounding with those ideas is a little bit better than...
Hilariously, I actually legitimately prefer the Trash King over that.
Oh, yeah, as a weird thing that you can have pop
even
up.
as, like, even in a situation like where... Oh, what am I trying to say here? Even in a campaign where things are supposed to be taken realistically...
Yeah.
I would not mind that at all.
Sure.
Just have that one character who's like almost kind of breaking the fourth wall.
Sure.
Or just being really fucking weird.
Just a weirdo. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, just a weirdo.
Because weirdos
like a weirdo
exist.
comedy character.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. As long as you're not overdoing it and you're using it sparingly, I feel like you could fit it in anywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it would not detract from my the enjoyment of the session. Like, if I had a session like that, and he was like, "Okay, what did we think of that session?" I was like, "I loved it, and I loved the Trash King."
Yeah.
Even in this scenario where everything is like it's modern day, there's no magic, there's no nothing. He's just this fucking crazy guy who lives in a trash can and gives us little bits of information occasionally. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just a way to spice it up and make sure that we remember we're playing a game here.
Sure.
It's kind of like I don't know if you watch him. He's a guy on YouTube, and his name is Pancreas No Work, and he does a whole lot of videos on things like Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, and BattleTech, and things like that.
Sure.
And one of the things that he did is a series called Do or Don't, and then it is a faction in a war game. So one of the ones that he did is Do or Don't Tyranids, and he basically just goes over the strengths, weaknesses, and interesting things of Tyranids and what they are, how they play, and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Toward the midpoint of the video, he's like, one of the interesting positive points about Tyranids in this wargaming setting is the fact that because they don't have a lot of lore or personality by their very nature, because they're all basically just cells in a gigantic body and they have no personalities of their own. He was like, it kind of helps because now we know it is something that kind of reminds us, like, especially as us lore nerds, that we're here to play a war game, and they are focused entirely on the fighting. And they're just like, there's no lore to this army. We kind of just want to get to the fight. We want to get to the fighting.
Sure.
Even the orcs have a little bit more lore to them.
Oh, they have so much. Yeah.
They have so much. And so it's just an interesting thought that it's just a reminder that, hey, we're playing a game.
Sure.
Don't forget that.
Sure. If you need that, sure. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's just kind of interesting, and that's how I feel about Trash King.
Yeah, and even with that, my brain immediately starts thinking about how to justify Trash King and what he does, because I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah. So Trash King, he pops up in dumpsters every now and then, and when he goes back,
the world over.
Well, yeah, and when he goes back into dumpsters, he actually, like, because he's so used to needing to hide from people who might want to do him harm or put him into a cell, or both. He has been able to figure out how to blend into the trash can, into the dumpster. So You look at him and he's got like this dude tattered everything, and he's got bags and shit that hang off him and pieces of garbage and stuff, and like he jumps into the dumpster, and then you don't see him because he just blends the fuck in.
Yes.
Right? And so it's just like, oh, so it seems like he's magical in that way. But after you fucking leave, he gets out and runs the fuck away, you know? Like
it's like a Yakuza character.
Exactly. Right? And in order to get around
every
easily...
time he enters the trash can, he does the Scrooge McDuck dive.
Right, exactly, yes.
He does, like, the perfect diving, perfect form every time. Exactly. You can tell he's been practicing.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like, if he really wants to get places without being seen, he can go and get under a sewer grate. Because you can actually get up under those if you really want to, you know? Like, and not everybody's watching them all the time because they're sewer grates. Who fucking cares? So, yeah, that's how he gets around pretty easily without anybody seeing him, and then he gets to his next dumpster, and then, hey, whoa, you just happened to be there when the fucking dumpster, the trash king is
when
here.
He was there. Yeah.
So,
it's great.
Like, I can justify
Look at you! You found me! Yeah. I'm the trash king! And give him the Captain Candy.
Wow! Look at you! You found me! I'm the trash king! Why don't you... Why don't you take a seat?
I have a question. So you're a master at the King Candy voice,
thank you.
But can you do like a gruff, kind of rough King Candy?
Oh God, I think it really depends.
Right?
Like it needs you to be higher, you know?
Yeah, but do you think you could do it?
I don't know. I would have to actually like listen to myself for a while.
You'd have to try.
Yeah, I'd have to actually try.
Because I can actually do 3 different levels of Skaven.
Yeah.
I can do the high fist.
Yeah.
I can do the
Yeah.
I can do the medium, and I can do the low one.
Yeah.
Throt. You know.
Yeah.
I can do 3 different levels of Skaven.
If
I want to.
For sure.
So I figured that if you're so good at King Candy, you might be able to do kind of like a kind of nastier, like rough version of it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those just sit in front of like a mirror and just do it, you know, for a while. Maybe
or
someday.
just like absent-mindedly at work.
Yeah.
You know,
just wow. Just
and then just pray nobody walks
right,
into your
exactly
room. And like,
when I'm there alone.
And
somebody's like just walks around my cubicle corner and just says, "What are you doing?" Just trying to do King Candy, but like
method acting.
I'm just just keep going. Just doing a little bit of practice. Don't worry about me. And then I get fired.
No, I don't think you get fired.
No, they wouldn't. They just look at me weird forever.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. Even Elder Scrolls had that one weirdo Daedric Prince. True. It's true.
Yeah, you can also give him some mechanical use too. Like he'll trade you things people had thrown away, like some scuffed runes no one wanted, or broken artifacts or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, the Trash King belongs to a race of humanoid cephalopods, and he hide with his no hard parts and chromatophores.
Yeah, exactly. You could, absolutely.
Yeah, dude, he's like a fucking he's a what is it? A cuttlefish.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Trash King belongs in any setting, okay? Please, feel free.
Any. I'm saying every.
Yeah.
There we go.
Please feel free to use Trash King. Absolutely. He's a great little guy. He's just a little guy.
Honestly, he might show up in my Call of Cthulhu shit now.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not going to write him in. But I will definitely use him.
You'll use him, exactly.
Yeah, as long as I remember to, like 5 years down the line.
Right. Wowee! It looks like you were throwing away some cigarette butts. I hope
that's worth half a blowjob.
If you got any more, I would love to have them.
I could give you some information for it if you want.
I see things, you know. I'm in the dumpster usually, and people don't notice people in the dumpster. It's just like,
great,
yeah,
dude.
man. Okay. what did you see over here? Well, what
have your trash eyes seen?
What have your Coke bottle glasses seen?
Yo.
Well, let me tell you, I've seen plenty of characters coming through and going into that warehouse. Isn't it crazy?
Definitely not as wacky as me.
They seem like they're packing some heat. You don't actually want to go after them, I promise. It's just like, okay, thanks, man.
Although you do kind of run a little bit of a risk with Trash King, because I feel like once Trash King gets introduced, everything grinds to a fucking halt. While the character's like, okay, we gotta learn everything about this guy.
What the fuck is going on with Trash King? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You'll never know. I don't tell anybody anything about me, but I'll tell you everything I know about everyone else. I'm the Trash King. All right, man.
Just throw in "I'm the Trash King" every
now and then. Absolutely. Yeah. You just gotta, they gotta know.
It's true. They might forget.
Yeah, exactly. He's the Trash King, man.
Yeah. You just gotta keep him informed.
That's right. Don't you forget.
Please tell me Trash King is now going to show up in Vampire somewhere.
Somebody very similar might be somebody that you can find.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect. Good.
Potentially.
Yes.
Oh,
so
God.
we're looking for these. So we're looking for the Second Inquisition. Oh, I know everything about the Second Inquisition.
The Second Inquisition. Wow, that's crazy. You know, I actually didn't think they existed for the longest time. It's just like, what?
They do?
No, they do. I promise you. Oh, well.
And that, honestly, that is when you have, like, the camera zoom out slightly, and you just see people walking down the street past this encounter. Yeah. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? Who are they talking to? I'm the Trash King!
I'm the Trash King!
One at a time, people!
I can only hold court for so long!
Yes! That's an even better way to say it. Fuck. Super good.
Fuck. Alright.
Yeah. This is what we get out of the podcast. It's never really like tips from a video. It's just random shit that we come up with.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, Trash King. Oh, alright.
Yeah. What a guy.
What a guy.
What a legend.
Trash King is a beloved folk saint who leaves discarded treasures for poverty-stricken children. True.
Yo.
True.
Dude, so he's Santa for poor people?
Yes, exactly.
That's amazing.
I made this myself. It's like a little thing that's made of like push pins and bottle caps.
Yeah, and then I was hoping you'd say, I made this myself, and it's like an iPhone 7.
Well, it's the case of one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, there's a case of one, but inside there's nothing that works. I really worked hard on it. Hope you like it. Just, thanks, man. Yeah,
thanks.
Just give me a call anytime you need me. And then he just runs off.
Like, so okay, hang on. So you remember Will McDaniel, the guy who makes those like monsters and shit that I showed you guys on YouTube?
Oh yeah.
He does the practical effects.
Yeah.
He's got a series of videos where he goes into the making of a lot of his videos.
Okay.
He goes in through like materials lists.
Oh, cool.
Materials lists.
Yeah.
And there is a character that he made called Materials List.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's just a guy who is like, I say all the materials, and that's my entire purpose.
Okay.
And he's done some wacky shit with that character. And at one point, Materials List died, and he left him a will.
Yeah.
And no, I remember it wasn't that. It was during COVID where. Everybody was quarantining and they couldn't interact. So Materials List was outside his door, and he like whipped out his phone, and it was like just a piece of like like made from cardboard.
Okay.
It just had some like numbers taped on there.
Yeah.
and then just like put it up to his face. I got you a phone. It's this. And it's
Yeah,
just a cardboard
exactly.
phone.
It's written on crayon or something. Like
Yes. And it works.
yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It only works for Trash King.
No.
though.
Yeah. You just and anytime you call him and he's not available, it just says, "Hello, this is the Trash King's phone. You better leave a message
Yeah.
real quick." Like something like that.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
Eldritch
Please tell me
Entity or
you've
Fae
written-
at this point. Well, probably more Fae, I would say.
Yeah, no, he's totally fake.
You could make him more Eldritch, absolutely, if you want.
Yeah,
But
I feel like he's just too whimsical.
He's very whimsical at this point. Yeah.
Oh, you know
really-
what? You could make him Eldritch, but he would have to be a Dreamland.
Yes.
Dreamland guy.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. There's a
I
lot
would
of
love
trash
that,
around
actually.
here. Yeah, it's a whole dream of it, in fact. It's
Oh
my
my God.
domain.
Jesus.
Don't go in there, or you'll become trash too.
Ooh.
And then
And
you
then
make
you go
the
in
horror.
there, look down, and you know there's no change. Oh, I was already trash.
You belong here.
It was metaphorical.
You'll never leave, and I'll never recycle you. Oh, okay. Oh,
Christ.
God.
Tell me you wrote any of that down.
It's all in my head now.
Okay, good.
It's been cemented. Trash King is in my brain.
Okay, very good. Because like that is something I would not want to have lost to the sands of time.
No worries. No
Not
worries.
to your inevitable Alzheimer's.
That's right.
What a shame.
Yeah, absolutely. What a shame. Oh my god. Anyway, that's all the videos and stuff that we have for today, everybody. Very much appreciate you being here for it. Hope that Trash King has inspired you as much as I love him.
What are you talking about? Trash King inspires us all.
That's true. He is the one thing that can bring us all together as a people.
Yeah.
There
Hell, I'm going around collecting trash in Monster Hunter right now.
you go. We all are part of the trash ecosystem. Even if you don't know it, you're making trash.
The trash recycle of life.
Very good. Okay. Anyway, it's the circle of trash. Yes, exactly. So, I step away for a bit. Did you ever show Boo that comment from the beginning? I have not. That is true.
Oh.
But I think I'm gonna save it for when we do a specific video on it, because I do want it to be a more deeper topic, a more deep topic, excuse me, that we go into more depth. And I do actually think that I want to get a bunch of people on for it so that we can all like talk about it together, because I would love to get a bunch of perspectives.
That sounds quite interesting if you're wanting to get so many perspectives on a single comment.
Yeah, well, it's more the concept that was brought up, really.
Was it a comment left on one of our videos?
Yes.
Or in an... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's in response to Juice, and it's about the high level of D&D thing that we were talking about. How it's
high level of D&D,
like when you get to high levels, how people say
right
stuff about it being a slog and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it can be a whole topic. So we'll hopefully get that as a full thing at some point for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I've written it down in the docket notes, so now it's there forever. I'll see it every time I open the fucking thing, so I will not forget.
All right.
Anyway, let's move on to comments, everybody. Of course, I will extend the invitation if you wish to take it to leave the scene, if you wish there, my friend.
I think I'll go ahead and stick around because
Okay.
I'm already doing I'm doing some shit in Monster Hunter, so
Absolutely.
I'm already kind of, you know.
Yeah, I get you. Absolutely. So, let's move on to comments. Okay.
With a dramatic reading by the Trash King.
The Trash King reads your comments. Wow!
The Trash King answers fan mail.
Yeah, really. Okay. So, that being said, let me, you know what? Let me refresh this page so that I get, nope, okay. Spawn status? There we go. Okay, that'll work. Because that'll get me the ones that we need. Okay, here we go. Yes, cool. So, first one, God, it's been a while. The first one is from Unit Rico, when we were doing the last of Sherlock, The Awakened. I think I sent you this, but I'll read it anyway. Time zones prevent me from joining most of these, sadly, but to answer Boo's question, I'm playing Seaglass using the MGBA through RetroArch on Steam, in case that matters.
Yep, I did. You did show me that.
Okay, cool. Pinball doesn't have the weird purple glitching. So yeah.
Yes, very sad, but we finished it.
Yes,
so.
yes, we did. Okay. Timothy on 211, so we shouldn't ask for checks and alternative initiative. Hey bros. Hello. New lore. Targasus POV. In a back office of the IMO South branch, Targasus Alabaster sat slumped over at his desk from a long night doing paperwork. He was jerked awake by a visitor. Human bodies break down a lot faster after the age of 100. How sad. The elder druid looked up to see Talathorn towering over him. Targasus. Do you need something? Talathorn. Yes, I need you to sign this. It needs to be handled by third chair or higher, and I didn't feel like talking to the other two. The Copper Dragon placed a form on the desk. Targasus quickly looked it over. Unauthorized use of puzzle golems. Adult elf caught in the act of theft in the South Branch magic item vault. How did this happen? Apparently, an elf bandit thought they could break into the item storage. He made 5 large puzzle golems, which, of course, split into many more in order to steal magical weaponry. It took all day to clean up. A lot of volunteers got injured dealing with it. Director Cyrus finally finished them off an hour ago. I see. Well, at least it's done. Hand over the bandit to the captain of the guard to deal with the rest. Right. Would you like to go back to your nap now? Funny. I could say the same to you. With how big those bags under your eyes are. Still not sleeping well, old friend. You told me to work, remember? Now you wish me to not do that and sleep? You're overcorrecting, stupid dragon. And, you still haven't said why you're so scared of Cornell. The druid knew why. He just wanted to hear it from Talathorn's own mouth. Talathorn. Why bother? You can't help. I struggle to find anyone that can at this point. Before Targasus could respond, the hand mirror on the desk started to glow, as Leroy's face appeared in it. Targasus. Ah, Leroy, this isn't the best time. Leroy. There won't be a better time, unfortunately. I leave Moon Valley City with the king in a few hours. I must ask you something. Talathorn. Moon Valley City? Why are you there? Targasus. Hush. What's the question? Leroy. I will be dealing with a project in a large swamp to the west. I know little about it. I was hoping a druid like you would know more to help my quest. Targasus. A large swamp? Yes, that place. I heard a few things from some people about it. I once knew a priest that lives there. He was a Kuatoa, I believe. That was over 60 years ago. Things might have changed by now. Leroy. Anything will help. It's better than going in blind. Targasus. Fine. Well, it could be a very unsafe place if you go the wrong way. One clan of bullywugs hunt anything they can find. But if you get on the good side of another strong faction there, they will leave you alone. I also heard most groups in the swamp have an agreement to help protect their home, so to speak. If you act too aggressive, you won't come out alive. Treat the land with respect. Most will be friendly according to that priest, anyway. Leroy. That lines up with my theories thus far. Excuse me. Ooh. We did learn about a coven of 5 green hags. that live with the target of this quest. Know anything about them? Targasus. A coven of 5? That doesn't happen a lot, unless they are related. The priest mentioned working with a hag at one point. If that hag was one of the 5, or the mother of the 5, I cannot say. The IMO keeps track of most hags in the world, since a lot of them don't take the IMO test. But, if I remember right, some have taken the test in the past, just to avoid the stress. I'll ask around to see what else I can find, and contact you if I can. But I make no promises. Leroy. I doubt you'll get back to me before I leave, but I'll keep the mirror just in case. I'm trying to pack light because of where I'm going. Thank you, Targasus. You're welcome. Good luck on your trip, and be careful. Now, Talathorn. Where were we? Talathorn. Nothing important, as he slipped out the door. Well, that's all I got. Have a nice day. Thank you. Very neat. I like it.
Yeah.
And then Jesse Thacker, or Jesse T. Hacker, who knows, says on last time's episode, with Juice, gives a time code, which is probably not correct, because that's 3 minutes and 15 seconds in. So I assume it's 3 hours and 15 minutes that you're trying to go for, because we did go on for a while. I suspect he's talking about how the PHB doesn't have a lot of material to help a DM run a game. Ah, yes, this is when we were covering bonus action, so yes. Sure, it has the rules, but the rules are fairly easy to internalize. A DM can use additional materials that aren't really in the PHB. Monsters, adventures, magic, items, campaign ideas. The PHB has materials for players to mine for ages, but a DM will likely want more. So already, I don't know. So I would say that the ideas you can get from anywhere, so you don't have to have them from, like, the PHB can give you ideas easily. Just from spells, even, like their effects and everything that they can do. Just thinking about how a spell could be used in a creative way could give you so many ideas. The monsters, it does include monsters, so you could extrapolate how they create monsters if you want to utilize just the PHB and then go from there. You could do the work if you want to, so you don't necessarily need additional things because of that. Adventures, same thing as the campaign ideas. You don't necessarily need something else for that. Magic items as well. I think those are included in the PHB now.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know that for a fact, so don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But I think that it's easy enough for you to come up with magic items without going to a DMG or anything else.
Yeah.
Would they be as balanced? Maybe not, but that's what you kind of have to work on when you're creating magic items, right? And, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, if he is... Sure, if he's saying, yeah, the PHB doesn't have stuff for the DM to run, material for the DM to run a game, I can understand to a degree, but I also think that that's a lack of, like, creativity a little bit, unfortunately, because it's just like, well, you can think about it a little bit and kind of get to where you need to go with just the PHB, right? Like, the DMG, yes, might have some things that say, oh, this is the mechanics for this or something, but you can pretty much come up with a lot of it on your own pretty easily, I would say, because you know how the characters work, and so you know how abilities work, so you can then say, oh, some monsters can have abilities like this, and then it's like, well, how do you do skills? Oh, well, the PHB says all of this stuff for skills and such, so this is how we roll skills, and this is how we add stats to them, and this is how we add modifiers to that, and all of this kind of stuff. Like, it's so much that you can do for the basics that you can then expand upon with whatever you need as a DM, I feel. So regardless of, you know, what he means by it, in that video, I still don't see why he would say that it's, it doesn't have a lot for a DM in the PHB, right? That was very strange, and I don't agree.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
Maybe there is some stuff that is like in the DMG specifically that is essential. I do not know.
Mm.
And then Timothy on that episode as well says, "Hello, bros. Hello. Still working on lore. I really enjoyed this episode. I hope Juice can come on again soon. He really knows how to find the right videos to break our brains. I respect that. Have a nice day."
Yeah.
True.
Honestly, yes, he does.
And yes, we'll have him on
And we
again.
hate him for it.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So we'll have him on again. No worries whatsoever. And then Rico on the last one of Pokemon Sea Glass. So it says they did indeed change Miss Magus to be part fairy. Used it during my own playthrough, and it's seriously powerful. Its move pool has gotten a massive upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, Miss Magius was already really good.
Yeah. Also, Delcatty's still full normal as far as I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't seem it's weird to me.
Yeah, I thought it would have gotten turned fairy, but no.
And dude, yeah, that Rivendell set is fucking awesome. Some friends of mine have it, and it's gorgeous. I'd love to get it myself, but I don't have the space. Fair, me too.
How big is it?
It's pretty big. It's probably as big as my one part of my desk. Honestly, it's a big one.
Damn.
At least from what I've seen of the box. I don't know for certain, but yeah, it's big.
And actually, you know what? Speaking of sets like that,
Yeah.
I actually just got in something I got off Etsy, and it's a whole bunch of terrain.
Oh yeah.
And I cannot wait to just put it on the table and look at it, because it's all for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers.
Ooh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and I'm gonna definitely show that off in some in the
in the server.
Yes, there we go. That's the word.
No worries. Yeah. Absolutely. I can't wait to see.
All gonna be gray, but
well, it doesn't matter. It's still it's the sculpt, right?
Exactly.
I'd love to get it myself, but I don't have the space. I do have the Ship in a Bottle and Himeji Castle sets. They're really pretty as well. I would love to get a bunch more of those kinds of Lego sets, because one, I like putting together Lego. It's relaxing and fun. And two, they look fucking sick. So,
are the instructions still absolute garbage?
I've never had a problem with any set of instructions for Lego.
Oh,
so
wow, nice.
Yeah, I don't know if every time I've done a Lego set, I've just been like, oh yeah, I get it. So I just do it.
Okay.
So I don't know. I've never heard people complain about that. Is that a common complaint?
That's actually somewhat common.
Is it?
People not really liking the instructions for Lego, just because they're just kind of presented in weird ways sometimes.
Okay.
It's hard to make heads or tails of what you're looking at sometimes.
Okay.
But if you've never had problems with it, good on you.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah. I just I don't know.
It's so weird. This guy has no problem with Lego instructions, and he's never lost to Whitney. I don't get it. He's like the fucking Ubermensch dude. I don't get it.
And I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that I don't have the same experience as a lot of people, and I'm just like, well, fair enough, I guess. I don't get it myself, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, Locomotion on session 6 of Sunrise in Sin City. Hey, that's Letting Loose. You can probably remember what that one would be. Just says, a treat as always, lads. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. I love editing those together, even though they take me fucking forever.
That
it's good stuff. Anyway.
You do anything fancy, or are you just kind of recutting it?
I'm doing more fancy stuff as I keep going. I'm adding in sound effects, and I didn't start until I think that one. So, or no, I put a couple of sound effects in the first fight that you guys did. I put a couple of sound effects in there, and then I got a taste for it, you know?
Neat.
So now it takes me even longer because I have to look for the right sound effects and I have to get the music in right if I fuck up the music and everything. I've made it a little easier on myself now because I record 5 tracks, one of them being the music and one of them being the game. So like I can separate them out here and there and make it so that it's not all blended together there. And then I just have you guys in the Discord on one and me on the other, and then there's another track for just everything together. So
good.
Yeah, it's a lot, but I'm enjoying it when I do it, when I have the time and the energy, and it's a lot.
Which is not often, but...
No, it's true. It's true. He's just a gamer Lego god. Some big lore stuff coming up, hopefully. Hey, Timothy, cool. Yeah. I can't wait to read it. Anyway, Unit Rico gets the last 2 comments here. The first one saying, as someone who hasn't played a Monster Hunter since 4 Ultimate for the 3DS, this is on the first Monster Hunting stream, by the way.
Yes.
Since for the 3DS, I'm so fucking impressed with how many quality of life changes there are in this game. Also, even on medium settings, it looks so much better than I remember. Really nice that you can have 2 weapons as well. I can now swap out the buffs I can give with my hunting horn. It's great. Shame the game.
Yo, we got a hunting horde in the fucking server.
Yeah,
let's
dude.
go.
Hell yeah, dude. I thought about it. I actually really considered it.
I mean, hell, you still can.
I still can. That's true. But I love the bow.
You're only using bow.
Yeah,
currently.
but I love the bow.
So you can always just add. You can just add it to it.
It is true. Shame the game doesn't recognize my controller for some reason, though I'm used to the keyboard and mouse controls now. Wow! Holy shit!
That is a shame.
You're doing keyboard and mouse, though?
I mean, hey,
I guess,
if it works, it works.
To be fair, it might be easier than what Dark Souls did, but I remember when people were doing Dark Souls and they were doing keyboard and mouse, it was garbage. Like, it was not good to play in that way. But... yeah. Hey, if it works, it works. Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. I know of a controller that I use.
Same on the keyboard thing for you, Draco Kraken? Oh my goodness.
I could go ahead. I could supply the controller that I have.
Yeah. I also have one that just works.
Yeah. Let's see. Hang on a second here. Let me just get away from this monster. Okay. So, let me see here. Because I think I got it on Amazon.
Yeah.
I think I need to get in there through Google Chrome, otherwise it wants me to sign in.
Yeah. Oh, you're a light bowgun main, so it's not that bad. That makes sense. There you go.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Oh, wait, no, I had... damn it. Okay, hang on.
Well, I would say that mine is literally just a simple... like, this is the controller that came with the Xbone. Because one of my friends was just like, hey, I'm getting a new one here. Do you want this? And I went, yes, let's do it. Absolutely. Yeah. I've never owned an Xbox, so here we go. So, and I literally used it once and then took the controller, got the cord for it, and plugged it in, and I've never taken it out of my computer, basically. It is no longer the Xbone controller. It is my computer controller.
Damn it. I can't get into Amazon.
Well, while you're looking for that.
Yeah, don't you just love it when you use a shopping website fairly regularly and it still signs you out even on the computer that you're like, hey, don't sign me out of this because this is the trusted PC.
Shit, yours does that?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Fucking annoying.
That sucks, man. I haven't had that happen to me with Amazon, at least, but I have had it happen on a couple other sites.
Yeah, let me see.
What's weird is the controller was working, but then stopped. Oh,
that's strange.
That's very strange. Okay. Huh. But I assume it works on other games, so that's maybe it's apparently a lot of people have had issues with Wilds, and I've not had a single issue except for the artifacting that happens during some moments because of lighting or something that's going on.
Some kind of bloom issue. But honestly, I haven't seen that in a little bit, so I think they might have actually fixed that.
They might have, yeah. Works everywhere else? Okay, gotcha.
Oh, okay.
This gamer girl is count as a gamer god.
Okay. So, let me see. Is that not the same password that I used before? Ah, there we go. What the fuck? I never changed my fucking... Never mind. Okay. So, my orders. Okay, not in the past 3 months.
You can just search
20...
controller; it should come up.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was a search bar in the thing. Wait, is it not there?
Did you not get it off
Does
Amazon?
Yeah, I guess I didn't.
Oh,
wait a
shit.
minute. Is that it? I don't think it is. No, it's not.
Oh.
Okay, hang on. Let me see here. Let me just see if I can search for it and then find it. Because it wasn't on eBay. It wasn't on... Although, honestly, it might be just further back in eBay, because I have had this one for a long time.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Because if I didn't buy it on Amazon, I'll check eBay.
Yeah, eBay is a good shout.
Yeah.
Well, Unirico on the other stream that we did says, having 2 weapons is such a game changer, to be honest. Now all the game needs is Dark Souls 2 power stancing, so I can dual wield both of my hunting horns, and we've truly reached peak. Also, absolutely love how Raydao sounds. The sort of whirring it does really evokes that static electricity vibe. Yeah, dude. God, I fucking love the audio and visual design of these games. I also gave my Palico that exact same loadout, and it's glorious in the cutscenes. I love it. The tentacles.
Gyps Rose, fuck all off. Go away.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, the tentacle Palico is the best thing ever that will ruin every scene. It's great.
Yeah, it's really funny.
It's so
There's another
funny.
one that kind of does it, but it's to a lesser degree. You can do... Actually, I don't know if you're aware of him being in the game, so you know what? I can't spoil it. I would love to, but I won't.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't been able to play for a little bit, so
yeah. So I found
behind.
the controller that I have.
What's it called?
But let me... Okay, so let me see if I can... Oh. For whatever reason, the page for it isn't loading.
Oh.
But... let me see if just that one isn't loading.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might be out of date somehow. You know, like
yeah. Okay, controller for. Let's see here. It's like 2.4G. Controller gamepad. Let's see. Oh wait, let's try Xbox. Come on.
Palico isn't allowed to have the tentacles because I have them. What do you mean?
Ah, there it is. Found it.
Okay.
This is the one that I have.
What is it?
Ooh. It is a touch expensive.
Oh.
Yeah. So it is a... Here, let me... Can I post a link in chat?
You should be able to, yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So this is the one that I have currently. Oh my god, that's a massive fuck. Oh god damn it! It's one of those ones that has like a million.
Oh, did it do the Google link rather than the actual site link? Yeah, it does though.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me put this in the Discord, and then you can. Maybe you can get the link. Oh my god, it's one of those.
Yes. Okay.
So if I take that, maybe. If I just go to it. Nope, it's still the same. Can I get rid of all those letters and numbers at the end? Because it's too long to even post.
Hang on, I got you. You can usually just go to a link shortener website, and there we go. I got it. So
Okay, perfect.
Something like
Very good.
Something like that. Might work. Let me see. Let me put it in a thing.
Yep, that worked.
Okay.
It just took me straight there.
Cool,
okay.
Cool.
So then,
don't know.
So then here, I'll take that and post it in the chat.
There you go.
So I am using. Oh, I gotta get rid of the old link. There we go. I am using this controller. This is just an eBay link.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I got it for this price or if I got it for cheaper, but this one is currently $34.89.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with a charge cable and a wireless USB adapter thingy.
Yeah,
So you plug that into a USB, you turn on the adapter, and then you hit the middle button in the controller, and it will turn on.
Okay.
And that one works for me.
Okay.
Like Monster Hunter recognizes it, my PC recognizes it.
Yeah.
And it is obviously the Xbox configuration.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you go.
And it comes in white. Mine is not the white one.
Oh, there you go. So, hey,
Glad I found that finally.
Yeah, that's it for comments, everybody.
Yeah.
We did it. We're caught up. We're not behind anymore, and we got the idea for the next one and everything. So, that's it. I'll just tell you guys all about the shilling stuff. So those of you who don't give a shit, hey, you can leave.
Yeah, just fucking.
It's fine.
Have a nice day.
Exactly, right? Anyway, so, hi, hey, wow, you're in the podcast right now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We are able to be supported by purchases of memberships and such, if you wish to, not through YouTube, because that's a whole other thing. It's not a membership that way. It's a membership through Patreon and Ko-fi. Both of these are pages that we have. So if you wish to become a table flipper and get access to the editing streams and early access to things when I post it through those two sites, you can by going over to www.patreon.com/tabletalkcrew and ko-fi.com/tabletalkcrew. Both of them will give you the exact same benefits and everything if you wish, for as little as $1 a month. Up to you if you wish to, and don't feel like it's an obligation. Of course, take care of yourself first before you even think about giving us anything else. So, yeah.
I mean, you can think about it if you want.
Thinking is free, absolutely. So,
yes,
you can do any thoughts that you wish. Anyway,
just don't do any thought crimes, please.
True.
We don't like those.
That being said, we've decided. That being said, a big thank you goes out to our tier 4s, that being Draco Kraken, Rick, aka Unit Rico, and Steely, for those $15 that you give us every goddamn month. Appreciate you very much so. A thank you goes out to Crimson Rose as well for tier 2. And a thank you goes out to our tier 1 contributors. Yeah, like I said, little as $1 a month if you wish to support us. Also, still at the moment, you can go over to TeePublic and get our profile and everything on whatever you want through there. Soon to be Fourth Wall. I have not had the time to get some designs set up entirely and get some of the They give you what the fuck is it called? When you get something early to see its design and everything, to see the quality. And
early access?
No. It's a specific term for, like, they give you a prototype or something like that. Like things like that. I haven't been able to do that just yet, but I have set up the store at least a little bit with a few different ideas. I'm hoping to get those pins and keychains at some point, but those are a little costly at the moment, so we'll see about when that actually comes about. But for now, TeePublic is still there, so please, if you wish to, go and get whatever you want through there. Of course, you can go over to our website, tabletalkd&d.us, and go over to the support us page to see all the things that I have talked about and will talk about, and utilize this little thing to get dice. I will also be putting these, moving them to the Fourth Wall thing when I can, but for now, it is here for $15 through a Patreon thing, or not Patreon, sorry, a PayPal thing that you can do until I can get it so that you can use a card if you wish, because I've caved and I've made my own separate bank account for the podcast. So it's there. It's a thing. It's a personal account. Woohoo! So now, and I've also decided to start putting some actual funds into it myself every time I get my paycheck. So we're going to accrue some money that way so that we can afford cool things, as well as continue to afford the music, as well as all the stuff that you guys have already helped us get beforehand and are still helping us with, patrons and such. Thank you, Table Flippers. And of course, last but not least, we are still partnered with Humble Bundle. So using the link in our description, you can go over to Humble Bundle, and whatever you buy through it, using that link will help support us as well as the charities that they support via the actual bundles. So at the moment, we've got Wrath and Glory for Warhammer. That's a cool bundle. Hey, there you go. There's also, what is this? Oh, Iron Kingdoms 5e. There you go. Ooh, that's another one.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what it is, but it sounds neat. There's the Pathfinder Kingmaker bundle here that is a bunch of Pathfinder books and such. Yeah, I mean, looks like there's a bunch of TTRPG stuff that's going on right now. Pathfinder will be over soon, 4 days as of right now. So by the time this goes up, 2 days. I'm sorry, I completely missed this Mega Dungeon Mega Bundle for 5e. Ooh. There you go. As well. Bunch of stuff that's going on right now. And obviously all the other stuff that's in all the other bundles and the store and the choice bundle, everything that you get through using our link can help support us. So, do it if you wish. Yeah. You can send him money to fill that bank account. True, yeah, technically, yes. It's set up so that things go.
Let's see how full we can get it, chat.
Okay, well, no, you don't need to do that. That's okay. But yeah, so
and if we get it halfway full, Alejo will make an OnlyFans.
What is even halfway when it is literally an infinite ceiling?
Who knows?
Oh,
chat will have to find out.
God. Hate it. Yep. Anyway, the preceding program was funded in part by viewers like you, and also viewers unlike you. True. Anyway, that's everything that we've got for you tonight. Thank you all for joining us, as always, and thank you to all of you who watch this in the future. We appreciate you very much, and we hope that you continue to enjoy. Of course. Smack's roof. You can fit a lot of dollars in this, baby. True.
Yeah, dude.
I guess we'll see you next week for more. And I hope that the Trash King has inspired you to do more in your TTRPGs. So, have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
Bye-bye.